All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to make a bit of an impromptu video here. So I promised myself that I would make some reaction videos to Kargoz. Kargoz started coming out with some arena guide videos, like making them in sequence. Um, and basically, he was kicking my butt with these because every time he made a statement, every statement he was making was like a banger. It's like the complete opposite of, I need to go tear apart a video. It's like I need to go praise a video type deal. So the two videos I'm going to make reactions to specifically are going to be his racial tier list and his twos like meta comp tier list. Now, I am by no means, and we always have to preface this, and I think Kargoz does an amazing job prefacing this as well, which is that there is no expert at TBC Arena that is going to be 100% correct about anything. The best you can get is like an expert on a specific comp or a specific class that is somewhere in the vicinity of like 80% knowing what the hell they're talking about. Okay. Generally speaking, most quote-unquote experts or top tier like are arena players. They're only going to be like an expert at like a handful of comps or like a specific class. And even then, they're only going to know to a very, very high level, like specific specific specs of that class, if that makes any sense. So, for example, me as a paladin, right? If we're talking holy shock in the arena, I'm probably I'm by no means the guy to talk to on the subject. But that doesn't mean my ideas and my perspectives on it should be dismissed in any way, shape, or form, because I'm gonna know, like, I'm not gonna know how to play Holy Shock Paladin incredibly well in the arena, but what I am gonna know is how it sucks and you should play Heal Reckoning instead, aka Argent Defender Paladin instead. It's objectively the better healer for arena. So if you want to know how to make Holy Shock work, you should listen to some other Paladin player, because I'm just going to basically say don't do it and play this thing instead. Here's why. An actual Holy Shock Paladin player will start talking about how he's going to be using like Skull of Impending Doom and this and that, like, PvP trinkets. So we're like, Scarab Brooch Trinket from like AQ40, Scrolls of Blinding Light, why and where. He's going to have all these like weird little ways to make Holy Shock Paladin work in the arena. And my solution to that is I'm going to go play the Argent Defender Paladin, who literally shits on a Holy Shock Paladin in every way, shape, or form. Get out of here with all that, like, weird little nonsense. The other elephant in the room would be like Rep Paladin, right? I'm not the guy to really talk to about how to make a deep Rep Paladin work, aka a Rep Paladin with Crusader Strike. If you want to talk to me about how to make like a Cactus Paladin work, I'm not 100% sure what the hell that is. But I do know I made a video back in the day talking about how Crusader Strike sucks balls, and you're actually mathematically probably better off not taking Crusader Strike and instead going deeper into the prot tree and picking up Reckoning instead. Kargoz will eventually get around in the twos guide video talking about how one of his friends made a what he calls Cactus Paladin comp out of this. My guess is that the Cactus Paladin comp is a Paladin that does not have Crusader Strike and instead picked up 5 out of 5 Reckoning, which makes complete sense to my brain. Also wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if that Paladin is using like 1/3 of his gear as plus healing gear. That way he can hit like a very specific plus healing breakpoint for TBC Arena in twos, so that he actually is viable as an off healer if he by switching to a one-hander, a plus healing one-hander to shield, right? Totally qualified to open my mouth and talk about that one. And naturally, if I'm opening my mouth and talking about duels for Paladin, I'm probably the best Paladin to talk about duels, like, period, end of story. And lastly, if I'm opening my mouth and talking about Argent Defender Paladin, I'm probably the guy to talk to about there as well. So we're going to start off with the whole racial thing.
Out of 5.
let me get this going here. So Kargoz is going to start off by talking about the human racial, which I absolutely cannot agree with more. But he's going to eventually get around to talking about the dwarf racial. And the moment he opens his mouth and starts talking about dwarf racial was the moment I'm like, okay, this guy has me sold on him knowing exactly what the fuck he's talking about in TBC Arena. So I have to preface this video with something else. There are a lot of old guides out there. So if you look up guides for TBC Arena and they're like 4 years old, okay, like four-ish years old, compared to the modern guides, there were a number of things that really changed. What am I trying to say here? So what happened was there was a private server henhouse, the Warmane private server henhouse specifically, where a bunch of TBC private server guys were playing on the private server Arena, specifically on the Warmane TBC private server, including your boy, including Paladin. I have a number of videos playtesting a bunch of things on the TBC Warmane private server. We're going to look at those here in a second. I literally have them pulled up to activate them so we can talk about them in the video. These private servers have very similar combat scenarios to what we're seeing on the Burning Crusade PTR right now, okay? Where they give you access to all the PvP gear, but they don't give you access to play around with in the arena and in duels. But they don't really give you any access to resistance gear, okay? And what basically happened in these old videos, these old 4-year-old like videos and guides and tier list and what racials are good and what racials are bad, was that nobody really knew just how fucking terrifying rogues were going to be in actual TBC launch. And so all these old guides are basically, they would say things like Resto Druid, SL, Warlock is like S tier. But in our modern understanding of what's good in 2's Arena, it turns out that in an actual TBC release, official release, the rogues ended up becoming the boogeyman of 2's Arena. Okay? So our modern understanding of what's good in 2's Arena really revolves around what is good or what is bad for dealing with motherfucking rogues in TBC. So if you go look at an old tier list where our only experience was private servers, you would see rogues up there, but the apex predator of the arena of the private servers was like usually a Resto Druid and something else. So like Paladin Warrior were really high up on those tier lists. Resto Shaman SL Warlock was really high up on those tier lists. Rogues were up there, but they weren't the apex predator on the private servers. Flash forward to our current understanding of TBC, like what's good and what's bad in TBC. Rogues are the boogeyman. Like rogues are the class to beat. And you can kind of see that in Kargoz 2's list video, which I'll make a different video on. Where it's like Rogue Dispriest is the apex predator, and then you've got like Rogue Mage is an apex predator, and then even double Rogues is an apex predator, especially when it's played extremely good. But really it's just Rogue/X is the apex predator of our modern understanding of 2's Arena. And a few builds can kind of compete in the same ballpark with them, which usually involve either a Dispriest or a Resto Druid for various reasons. There are some Resto Shamans that get up there just because they're super tanky and they can live for like 1,000,000 years. What else is up there? I personally want to put Argent Defender Paladin up there because they're super tanky and they can live for 1,000,000 years. But that's a different topic of conversation. So the big elephant in the room when we start talking about racials is going to be motherfucking rogues. Okay? Just so we're clear about that. All right, so let's let him talk. Let's let our boy cook. And yeah.
All this other bullshit doesn't matter. It's perception. Dramatically increases stealth detection for 20 seconds. This is a huge deal.
Let me double check. Is he talking loud enough?
Especially in twos.
Yeah, totally talking loud enough. Okay.
This is stronger than on private servers. On private servers, perception was strong, but like it was shocking once we got into real TBC the first time round.
Yeah, he's about to describe this. Sorry, I'm gonna pause every now and then. On private servers, we would activate perception, and we maybe kind of sort of can see the rogue if it was like 20 yards away. In actual classic WoW and in TBC, you pop perception, you're seeing the rogue like 30 or more yards away, and not like maybe kinda, like definitely sorta seeing them like 30 fucking yards away. So if the rogue is like 20 yards away from you and you activate perception, it's almost you're guaranteed seeing him like he was not even invisible. If they're 30 yards away, you're kind of sort of seeing them. On private servers, it was a kind of sort of at 20 yards. He's about to go on to explain this, but I just want to make it absolutely fucking clear from my experience playing a human paladin. That perception compared to private server to actual TBC and classic was just like Jesus H. It was Jesus H. fucking Christ in night and day difference.
How strong this was, and like the early seasons of the first round of TBC Classic, it was a stealth battle. It was a stealth war. It's how much plus stealth detection can you equip? Rogues would run goggles that had literally no stats on them. There's called like the hypervision blue goggles, and there was some weird pattern you have to go farm out in like Shadow Moon Valley. And they would pop perception. They would pop their goggles. Sometimes they would even pre-vanish, which gives them the highest form of stealth detection, which kind of overrides everything. So
I have no fucking idea what he's going on about right now, but it I'm learning some shit here when he's like pre-vanish, highest form of stealth detection. I think the prevent. Okay, so when a rogue vanishes, they'll disappear even from perception for a few seconds. I know that, but I don't know why it does that, if that makes any sense.
Like the stealth battle. So if you think a human is popping perception, and there are certain like breakpoints with stealth that if they didn't have enough of the breakpoint, that you could like all in them as like a horde rogue and like pre-vanish and just run at them during the pre-vanish like increased stealth bonus period. Anyway, that's not going to be as much of a thing this time around. So they removed those blue hypervision goggles. The NG goggles, I believe, don't have stealth detection on them as well. I think the trinkets got stripped away from that stuff. So there will be plus stealth detection, but it's going to be paranoia, the Fell Hunter paranoia, perception, pre-vanish, shadow meld. Like the night elves have a little bit more stealth detection like built into their racial. Let me know what I'm missing. It's a very strong cooldown though, and you have to play around it. It's absolutely something you're mindful of. As soon as the gates open, you check to see what you're up against, and if you see human, you kind of have to make a decision. Like if you're a fellow human alliance team, or if you're a horde team, a lot of times like the horde teams will try to hang back a little bit and try to like mind games with positioning to avoid the humans detecting them, because it only lasts.
Right. So you'll notice I agree with him 100%, but you'll also notice he didn't open with the preferencing as to why the fuck perception is so important in the arena. It's because the rogues are the boogeyman, right? Rogues are the boogeyman in arena. If your comp cannot beat rogues, then you're going to struggle to get higher up in the arena brackets, if that makes sense. They've changed the requirements on how much you like start at 1500 rating now, whereas before you start at 0. He'll start talking about this. I didn't know that, believe it or not. And you, instead of needing like, I want to say it used to be like 2000 something rating, like 2100, you only need like 1800 now. They made it much easier for you to get what you need out of the arena. I think it's specifically your shoulders and your weapon that you need out of the arena. But yeah, it used to be that if you could not beat rogues, you couldn't get your fucking shoulders. Like literally you couldn't get your shoulders. Good fucking luck to you, sir. You'd have to like really struggle to get your weapon. So it'll be easier now, but rogues became so oppressive in arena that anything that helps you beat rogues in arena suddenly went way the fuck up in value compared to like private servers.
For 20 seconds.
Like that's the elephant in the room with what he's talking about here.
And then on the human side of things, you know what you're up against, and you kind of assume that they're going to try to play around your perception. So a lot of times you try to hold it for as long as you can and wait a second and just be clever based on like the topography of the map, like how you can use it. But you'll see once you pop perception, you will be able to see stealth really far away. So if you're at like Tomb on Ruins of Lordaeron and you pop perception and you start moving your way to like the other room, you could see someone sitting by the eye, like pretty much almost immediately.
It's like 40
after
yards.
leaving that center tomb part.
It's like 40 fucking yards.
It's a really big deal, and especially in like double DPS comps, Rogue Mage, Rogue Lock, whatever it is, perception is going to be even more important because you're so opener heavy. It's harder for you to recover. You mess up the opener, and sometimes it's just lost. You know what I mean? Whereas if you're playing like a really hardy team that like specializes like in little mini goes, defensive, reactive, can claw your way out of a really tough spot, something like you're playing like a hunter kind of drain comp team like HD, or if you're playing like Undead, Tauren, RD, Rogue Druid, like, and especially in the later seasons, you know, these are like really hardy teams that are hard to kill that can recover.
He calls them,
you know, stuff like perception might not be as useful. And like I said in the last video, I think perception is going to be a little bit less strong than it was the first time round. Could be wrong though, but I mainly say that.
Yeah, we're not entirely sure if all those stealth detection crap is still going to be in the game. Part of the reason why he's saying that we're not really sure this time around is because people have gotten a lot better at playing around stealth, and people have gotten a lot more mindful about like gunning for rogues. And this is really going to come into play when we get into the next racial, which is fucking Dwarf. The moment he opened his mouth and was like, you know, Dwarf might be the best racial in the game, like spoilers alert, I was like, this motherfucker knows what he's talking about. Like, I'm a Dwarf fucking Paladin now rather than a human Paladin this time around for a fucking reason.
That because people have become more sophisticated in dealing with it and learning how to deal with it. They have 4 seasons and 10 years of private server experience to learn how to play around the perception. That being said, my main warlock will likely be Alliance. I actually want perception on my warlock. Like, I want to be a human warlock.
Yeah, the changing of the arena rating, like it not being that hard to get what you need out of the arena, is also a really big a deal for. Again, it makes a lot more comps viable that can struggle versus rogue. To get what you need out of the arena. That's the other really big elephant in the room. He'll get around to it. I just think all these things, it's like you need to preference them first before we, you know, start actually talking about things.
With perception and paranoia.
Human perception, paranoia.
That's perception warlock. For you.
你可以选择做一个商队劫匪，也可以选择做商队护卫。在这款游戏里。
The other thing I'll mention is that the 5% the 5 expertise is not nothing. It's like plus 1% chance to hit, like 1.25% chance to hit, and not be like dodged or parried or some shit like that. I've been playing Dwarf on the PTR, and I can fucking feel the my lack of 5 expertise for not being human. Like I can fucking feel it, but man, oh man, I would rather have stone form.
Perception for you.
So the expertise is not nothing. But I guess it depends on your class, right? If you're a warlock,
I will say it works in combination with warlock paranoia. That's one of the perks of playing warlock rogue, is that you pretty much, like, your main thing that you bring to the table as a comp is, 1, you soft counter rogue mage, and there's tons of rogue mage on the ladder, and 2, you are the Giga Chads of stealth detection. You know, you have the most stealth detection. You are the most feared. If you're human roguelock with paranoia, with perception, double perception, like, people are scared. Okay. Yeah, also, I guess the other consideration is, like, it's easier rep grind because it's diplomacy.
It's the BIS PvE, but we're here for PvP, right? So
probably the BIS PvE racial as well. And the way, like, expertise and stuff works in TBC. Let me know if it is. Okay, so the human priest racials, you're not going to see any human priest. This is a fucking meme. Like, honestly, dude, you know how I was saying in the last video, like 51% win rate?
Okay, the only reason I can even remotely think of for being a human priest, all right, is that Desperate Prayer is actually not bad at all. Okay, like, hear me out here. Kargoz is going to want to reach the fucking screen if he's watching this video and smack me in my fucking mouth. But just hear me out here for a second, okay? We're about to talk about Dwarf. And the Dwarf racial is so fucking good in Arena that you can kind of get away with being Dwarf on just about anything. It's like not S tier on every class in the fucking game. But hear me out on this for a second. You can be like a dwarf rogue or a dwarf like ret paladin, like not necessarily the focus target under a lot of circumstances. And if you're playing a healer that can like push a button and like instantly heal you, having your stone form racial as the glass cannon DPS is actually really fucking good. Like I maybe I'm talking out my ass here. Maybe what I'm about to say fails at like the theoretical level because in theory, it's going to move the needle for your win rate more if your racial helps you counter the thing that you would struggle with otherwise, right? It's like I play this comp in the arena, we struggle against this type of comp over here, we beat all these other comps. But if we're this combination of racials, suddenly we have much better matchups against the comps that we would otherwise struggle with, right? That's kind of the high level meta of arena comp versus arena comp. That's where the racials really start to matter, right? But in theory, okay, let's say it's a dwarf ret paladin, okay, a glass cannon dwarf ret paladin. That pairs really well with a Resto Shaman and with a Resto Druid because we're talking about classes that can like nature swiftness. They can instantly do a fat heal. And if my dwarf paladin, my ret paladin gets in trouble for whatever reason and he needs heals like right now, because the best way to deal with a ret paladin is just to throw counter pressure back at them, especially in the shit that makes them need to cleanse, or just to do so much damage to them that they're basically forced to bubble, or they die, or they're forced to run away and be like, oh shit, I'm taking so much damage. If they just pop their stone form racial, remove all the wound poisons and poisons off of them, and then my healer has the ability to just be like, yeah, I'm going to do an instant fat heal into you, that's fucking scary. Like, that is scary because it means that, homie, all your pressure to try to stop their go just got wiped off the fucking map. And I can kind of see Desperate Prayer being in this category. I don't know if it has a spell power ratio behind this fucking thing at all, but I do know that the one fucking thing that a priest is missing that the other healers technically have is I push button and I heal a motherfucker for quite a bit, right? Power Word Shield kind of gets around that, but it also is countered by Purge and Dispel and Spell Stealing and shit, right? So I don't know. Also, the other one that comes to mind is like Dwarf Rogue. Dwarf Rogue sounds disgusting on paper until you kind of stop and think about it, where it's like, if my ally has the ability to push button and instant heal my ass, or if they're hard casting heals into me and I can just like push stone form and remove the 5 out of 5 wound poisons off of me, or if I can just push stone form and remove the crippling poison or the slow poison, I mean, goddamn, man, like Jesus. Even stone forming, using stone form to remove like a serpent sting off of you or some crap you don't want on you from just a GCD saving perspective, while you're in the middle of a go, like, you know, actually trying to kill, like end the fight, like here and now. Like, I don't know, it's worth it. It's just so nuanced. I don't know what to say. So he's going to talk about how Human Priest is garbanzo, but if it's paired with a dwarf, I can totally see it. And that's the problem, is that we're about to talk about how Dwarf Priest is so much better than Human Priest, because Dwarf Priest has motherfucking stone form. But at the same time, I can see like an instant heal onto a dwarf being like also good. But as a priest, you're probably going to be the focus target. Like let's be honest here. So it's like your dwarf rogue / dwarf ret paladin isn't really helping you at all when you're the go target, and you'd rather just have stone form for yourself. You know what I mean? So in a world where you could have both stone form and desperate prayer, it'd be like Giga Chad, like the perfect combo. But we don't, so it like is what it is. Which makes me wonder about like 2 priests in the arena. I don't know. Do we want them to all be dwarves? Like, I'm kind of confused. Maybe it's better. Yeah. So there's this weird thing that I'm basically describing a thing that's not a thing, but it's technically borderline on the radar of being a thing. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, moving on.
Like 50, it's okay if you're playing an off-meta race. Bro, like, don't play human.
Let's go back.
Like,
let's go
I was
back.
saying in the last video.
Go back. Okay.
And the way, like, expertise and stuff works in TBC, let me know if it is. Okay, so the human priest racials, you're not going to see any human priest. This is a fucking meme. Like, honestly, dude, you know how I was saying in the last video, like 51% win rate, like 50, it's okay if you're playing an off-meta race. Bro, like, don't play human priest would just be physically painful. Please don't do that to yourself, man. Like, I guess you could possibly spam enough games and get whatever you want out of arena, but it's physical. I feel physical pain envisioning you playing a human priest.
I would say that if you're playing a human priest, the comp needs to be extremely well thought out. It's probably not in 2s, right? If we're talking human priest in 3s or 5s, and we're talking multiple healers, the desperate prayer starts making more sense. Especially if we're talking about a healer heavy comp. Outside of that, he's 100% correct. It needs to be well thought out if we're going with human priest.
In the arena, please don't do it, dude. It's like antithetical. Like, literally, it's too much. It's too much. Like, I'd rather play a Blood Elf Rogue or whatever. Like, this, not having stone form is just, it's like blowing your legs off with a shotgun, like, for no reason. Like,
he's 100% correct in 2s, but I can see a world of 3s and 5s where human priest is actually fucking terrifying. It's like, yeah, we're 5 priests and 5, all human. I'd be like, God, fuck.
Anyway, getting into dwarf. Stone form, maybe the best racial in the game.
Woo! He's not wrong.
It might be. Let me know your thoughts down below. It's up there. It's like it's something that you may not initially understand it.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible. Like, it's even better than it is in TBC, and they changed it in some ways from vanilla.
What I love about what he's about to say here, like I adore, like I'm just sitting here in my chair going, oh my God, yes, is he's going to talk about how awesome stone form is for every fucking class except Paladin. So I get to sit here and then go on a tirade about how this is incredible for fucking Paladin, which is hilarious in my book, because I end up learning a bunch of stuff. I'm like, he's going to go on about how it's amazing for priest. I'm like, yeah, totally. Then he's going to talk about hunter, and it's like, I haven't thought about that. But then I'm thinking like, wow, it's actually really good for rogue, and it's a good for like, oh, it's so good. But he won't even bother talking about Paladin. I'm like, no. Hold up, time out.
Some people might think, oh, it's like, I can't get out of blind anymore with stone form. Like, this seems worse. TBC Arena, one of the core mechanics of it is poisons. I mean, bleeds are a thing too. Like, honestly, like having a bleed on you, stopping you from getting a re and going back into stealth or interrupting like a Trinket or whatever. Like, bleeds are a thing too, but it's mainly poisons. Who applies poisons? Hunters with the
Viper Sting,
Mana Drain, Viper Sting, and rogues.
Both rogues.
very powerful. Like mana is very finite. It is a very limited resource in TBC. That's why it feels kind of turn-based, kind of like chess. So being able to take off.
So specifically, what we're talking about here. So when he opens his mouth and he says Viper Sting, okay. I'm trying to like dwarves can't be mages, so he's specifically talking about dwarf priest all of a sudden. Just so we're clear here, okay? Priests, for some fucking reason in TBC, cannot remove diseases. Okay, they can dispel all magical effects. They have a cleanse. They can offensively dispel all magical effects, so they have a purge. They can remove poisons, but they can't remove motherfucking diseases for some reason. So druids can remove diseases, but they can't dispel magical effects. Shamans can remove diseases, but they also cannot dispel magical effects. Basically, when it comes to all the dispels, every class that can dispel is missing something. Okay, either offensively or defensively. So, for example, a Paladin can remove just about everything in the game. They have access to all the get the fuck off of me abilities, but they can't decurse and they can't purge. Druids, they can decurse and they can remove diseases and poisons, but they can't dispel magical effects. They also can't purge. Like, there's a list of, like, who's missing what where. And when it comes to stone form removing diseases, that is specifically valuable to priests, because priests can't remove fucking diseases, and it makes them incredibly susceptible to Viper Sting specifically. So, like, a hunter's game plan versus a priest is basically just a Viper Sting the shit out of them. And drain their mana like a motherfucker, leaving them and then they become like dead meat, basically. And when you have stone form, you can basically just give them the middle finger. Like, it's disgusting. It is literally disgusting.
A Viper Sting and then be immune to it for like the next 8 seconds is huge. But the main thing is the poisons. A rogue's top priority when they play the game is poison management. They're trying to get crippling on their target, and they're trying to shiv wounds. Wound poison is the one, they redid it from vanilla. In vanilla, it reduces healing by like a static amount, and it was way worse. In TBC, it stacks up, so it basically becomes like a mortal strike.
Yep.
And killing stuff without wound poisons on it, the target just feels way harder. Like, they can heal through it like pretty easily.
It's their
and
number
a lot
one
of times,
DPS
like these newer
increase.
Players to Arena, and I remember asking Spank some of the same questions when we would like do some like VOD review of our games, and like he'd just be like, dude, you're not like prioritizing stacking up wounds. Like, you need to get wounds on like ASAP. That is like, don't worry about your damage, don't worry about whatever, like get those 5 wounds up.
Yeah, so the way it works for Rogue is it's like, and again, Rogues are the apex predator. Rogue X is the apex predator in 2's Arena, and they're still terrifying beyond beyond 2's in the Arena. Rogues are like live lords. They you can't kill them for shit, and they can eventually stack up enough wound poisons on you that you basically have minus 50% healing reduction on you. It's literally a mortal strike, and it's such a monstrous DPS increase for there to be a 5 out of 5 wound poison stack on their kill target. That there's literally nothing else a rogue can do that is a higher DPS increase than getting 5 out of 5 wound poisons on their target. So the first fucking thing any good rogue does is try to get 5 out of 5 wound poisons on their target. Like, they're like spending energy shivving their target over and over and over again to try to stack up 5 out of 5 wound poison on the target. That's your first thing that you do. You don't even try DPSing the enemy down until you have 5 out of 5 wound poison on them. Otherwise, you're just not... You're leaving DPS on the table. It's also the number one reason why rogues are even viable as a partner in the arena. If they did not have the Mortal Strike wound poison, they would be objectively inferior to a warrior. Or like a hunter or some other DPS class that can just brings more CC to the table, more kiting ability to the table, more endurance fighting capabilities to the table. Wound poison is literally everything. It is literally everything.
Or that target's not dying ASAP. That is like, don't worry about your damage. Don't worry about whatever. Like, get those 5 wounds up, or that target's not dying. So it takes some globals. It takes some energy to shiv these wounds on and get it up to 5. And you are coordinating your go. You're coordinating your burst around getting these wounds stacked up. Just being a Giga Chad Dwarf, you press one button, stone form. You have more armor. You completely reset the tempo and the momentum of having all those wounds on you. This is a legitimate defensive cooldown that can potentially by itself stop a go. And when you're playing like a double DPS comp, like a rogue mage or a rogue lock, and seconds are critical and you're trying to all in the priest and kill them before they can stabilize, it is an unspeakably huge deal.
Right, so you can see very specifically that he's talking about stone form in terms of priest right now. He's about to go into talking about it in terms of hunter, which I didn't even think about, but it makes complete sense. It also makes sense that dwarf rogue isn't the worst fucking thing in the world. We already talked about this. Although you're better off being a human rogue. Dwarf rogue is probably a very close second. I wish I was joking. You'll be easier to find in a stealth war, but it doesn't matter because you have stone form. It's like, you found me. What are you going to do now? Like attack me and get a bunch of wound poisons on me? That's cute. I'm just going to pop stone form and my healer is just going to like NS me. Like good luck. But when he's done talking about hunter, we need to talk about paladin.
And you have to chew through each one of the priest cooldowns methodically. Right, and you can basically like stone form and then use like desperate prayer, which is the heal as well. They get like an extra whatever it's called.
He'll get to it. When he gets to
it's just like a burst heal. So stone form is really good, and also
it's also like your PvP trinkets, right? So if you're the focus target in the arena, usually your PvP trinkets will be double defensive in nature. The best ones to have, of course, are the ones that just increase your HP bar by an amount, because that doesn't give a shit whether or not you have a 5 out of 5 wound poison on you or not. But once they wear, oh my God, how do I put this? But the second best ones, if possible to use, are the healing ones, especially if you have stone form. Okay, the stone form makes the healing ones even more viable. So, for example, if you have Mortal Strike on you, the plus HP defensive trinkets are I can pull up Immortality Protocol. Let's go pull up Immortality Protocol here really fast. We want paint. Let's go pull up. Let's go do a search. My computer is bugging out on me at the moment. I know where it is. Fuck you. I'm just going to find Immortality Protocol. Immortality Protocol. Where are you? That's D2 Curses. Welcome to Pally Time videos, motherfucker. Where the hell is Immortality Protocol? There we go. So you can see we have like a Talisman of Alliance up here, which is like a phase 1. Improve resilience by 34. Heal yourself for like, 900-ish HP, 2-minute cooldown. That 2-minute cooldown is really, really fast and kind of important. You've also got this other one down here. Increase your defense rating by 26. Increase maximum health by 900 for 15 seconds. Everyone in their dog is going to have the Brooch of the Immortal King. That's giving you maximum health and defensive rating. And then later on in phase 4 and beyond, Blizzard actually wises up to what we actually need in PvP. And they actually give us a legit defensive cooldown for just about every class, like increase maximum health by 1700 for 15 seconds. Okay. Even later on, you gain access to this weird ass like Sunwell vial thing that can heal you for like 2,000. There's basically a bunch of trinkets out there that can heal you. But there's not a lot of trinkets out there that can give you, like, bonuses to your maximum health. The maximum health trinkets are objectively better than the heal ones, because they're going to work on both versus both the wound poison, and they're going to work versus the the mortal strikes. Okay. And just about anything else that you're going to run to. Those trinkets that give you maximum health don't give a fuck. But the healing ones are also incredibly fucking powerful, and often are even more powerful for a variety of reasons than the plus health trinkets. So, for example, the Talisman of the Alliance over here is on a 2-minute cooldown, whereas the Immortal King one is on a 5-minute cooldown. Not to mention resilience versus defensive rating, blah, 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 blah. And these are only a handful of examples that exist in the game. Stone Form ends up being your boy with those healing trinkets, because while it doesn't work against Mortal Strike, rogues are the apex predator, rogues are the class to beat. If you can Stone Form remove the Mortal Strike and then pop a healing trinket, it's like goddamn. And in phase 1 specifically, there aren't any real. I need this. There isn't really a double increased maximum health option for you in phase 1. At best, you can get like literally the Immortal King trinket and then the Regal Protector. But you'll see that this is also on a 5-minute cooldown. But with Stone Form, right, this 2-minute cooldown one becomes absolutely fucking amazing for a variety of reasons. You basically have to wait until phase 5 before you even get the ability to have double plus maximum health trinkets that are worth a damn. This thing is okay, right? But I'd really just rather have another Brooch of the Immortal King. So, difficult to explain just how good Stone Form is, but I mean, god damn. So Stone Form pairs incredibly well with any kind of instant healing. It pairs extremely well with any kind of instant healing trinkets or abilities that you're finding from your gear. This Immortality Protocol does still have... Oh, the Shadowman trinket, I forgot. Oh, okay, yeah, phase 3. So I guess it's phase 3, my bad. Increase maximum health for 20 seconds, 3-minute cooldown. Oh, Jesus, gimme. All right, moving on here.
It's super good on Hunter as well. So the interaction between Frost Trap, that's the one where you lay the big sheet of ice on the ground and you have entrapment procs. It's the same thing like in vanilla, like it's pulsing really rapidly. And if somebody's walking through your trap, it can trigger this root. And the root can trigger the root. And you can actually have these cringe interactions where you're just stuck in this Frost Trap for like 20 seconds if you get really unlucky.
I play Paladin, so I had no idea that this was a thing people worried about in TBC. I'm like, what is this shit? And just freed him out of it. I'm like, whatever. I completely forgot that this is even a thing. Oh, no.
So you're a rogue. You open on the hunter. It's the nightmare fuel trying to open on a hunter as a rogue because they can Stone Form. You put crippling on them, which is 70% movement reduction, I believe. It's huge. When you have crippling on you, you're like waddling around at like RP walk speed. Dwarf has a trap down. You open on them, you get crippling on it. They just Stone Form out of your wounds. They Stone Form out of your crippling, and they're just running around their Frost Trap like they have Blessing of Freedom on. You can't touch them. You can't really interact with them. They're stalling you out. The Frost Trap has this huge range, like they're humping a pillar, right? And it's just really good. And comment down below, like if you...
Now, when he says they're running around you as if they have Blessing of Freedom on, I'm envisioning that what this hunter is doing is because Stone Form lasts 8 seconds, right? Is that it doesn't really matter what the rogue does. The rogue could like try to vanish and shadow step on top of him to like reapply the crippling poison. It won't fucking matter for like 8 seconds. The hunter's probably doing some incredibly, like high-level hunters are probably doing some incredibly annoying shit that it's literally like pissing on the rogue's grave level of insulting to watch them do this to a rogue, which is they're probably doing shit like they're going out of combat and shooting them with ranged abilities only to go back into combat and bitch slap them with their like two-handed weapon. Like literally The level of disrespect that they're showing the rogue that's stuck in the frost trap is like over 9,000. Because they're while Stoneform is active, they're probably going in and out of melee just to get some extra DPS on this poor fucking rogue. I can see the level of disrespect being over 9,000. Oh god, let's go back for a second. Oh, that's beautiful.
Running around their frost trap like they have Blessing of Freedom on. You can't touch them, you can't really interact with them. They're stalling you out. The frost trap has this huge range, like they're humping a pillar, right? And it's just really good. And comment down below, like if you've played a dwarf in TBC Arena, tell me how much you love your stone form, how much you appreciate your stone form ratio.
It's insane.
It's incredible.
Ayah! This right here is one of the reasons I don't monetize my videos. Fuck you. And then we have to sit here and wait because the internet is shit. So, whatever. This means my internet is temporarily down. It just is what it is over here in China sometimes. So, we have to talk about Paladin. And it's going to come up, and then Kargoz is going to start yelling at me in probably like 10 seconds or something like that. So we talked about Dwarf.
How much you appreciate.
Yeah, fuck you. We need to talk about it on Paladin. So we covered Priest. He covered Hunter. On Paladin, it's by far the best human racial for Paladin for PvP. Although Perception still has its place because of how oppressive rogues are, right? It's the better racial for Paladins as the defensive option, whereas Perception is the better alliance racial for offensive purposes on the alliance side for Paladin, that is. Draenei Paladin is still pretty fucking good because Draenei Paladins do have their heal capability that has spell power ratio behind them. But what's absolutely okay, so when it comes to Paladin PvP, there's offensive options and then there's defensive options. And it really depends on what kind of Paladin you're playing in Arena, but there's so much fucking nuance to it that I can't really make that statement definitively. So for example, all right, the Blood Elf racial is the only racial available to you on the Horde side as Paladin. But it's still incredibly good for both offensive purposes and defensive purposes, right? It has its place. It's kind of pulling double duty from both an offensive and a defensive perspective. Stone form is a purely defensive racial. So if you're a Holy Shock Paladin in the arena, or you're an Argent Defender Paladin in the arena, if you're some variant of a healing Paladin in the arena, Stone form is fucking amazing. Like if there's a world where you can foresee in the arena that you're going to be the focus target from time to time, Stone Form is just fucking insanely good, right? Or if you can guarantee that you're going to be the focus target, like you're the Holy Shock Paladin, you're the Argent Defender Paladin, Stone Form is insanely fucking good. The reason why it's so good is because while it doesn't work against Blind is physical in TBC, it pairs so incredibly well with Blessing of Protection that as far as a rogue is concerned, bopping yourself as a paladin, Blessing of Protection, protecting yourself as a paladin, and stone forming at the same time, especially in the arena, is essentially a fucking bubble. Okay? It's literally a fucking bubble as far as a rogue is concerned. So in duels, if I pop stone form and I Blessing of Protection myself versus a rogue, well, no. First, let's talk about what life looks like if you don't have a stone form, okay? And you're looking at bopping yourself as your defensive cooldown. What happens is you still have wound poison on you, and you may or may not have mind-numbing poison on you. So bopping yourself means that you can try to go for heals, but the healing that you're doing is cut in half, and they're taking like 3.5 seconds to cast because you may or may not have mind-numbing poison on you as well. The rogue can throw grenades at you outside of the arena. Inside of the arena, their partner can usually tell you to shut the fuck up through your bop, with like a like some kind of an interrupt, typically. Be that like a silence, they're telling you to shut the fuck up through your Blessing of Protection. Be that a counter spell through your Blessing of Protection, or be that a counter. You shouldn't be popping if counter spell is even on the table, but whatever. What are we talking about here? I guess there's a world where you'd still want to do that. I take it back. It's still a thing. What else is there? Or there's like an Earthshock flying through your shield and interrupting you, right? But what the rogue can't do is they can't... Like, if I just pop Stone Form and I try to go for a heal, the rogue can kick me, the rogue can blind me. The rogue has a bunch of interrupt capabilities, physical interrupts. If I just bop myself, my healing is going to suck balls and I can still be interrupted by a bunch of stuff. But you pair them together and the Stone Form removes all the bleeds and the mind numbing, so now you're casting freely. The Blessing of Protection is protecting you from all the incoming physical damage and interrupts like blind and kicks. And the next thing you know, it's very easy for you to start getting heals off both on yourself and on others. So if you're a Holy Shock Paladin, you'll pop Blessing of Protection and Stone Form, and you'll just Holy Shock yourself, and then you'll start going for some hard casting heals. And it doesn't really matter if you start catching like a counter spell. Not counter spell is a bad example. Like an interrupt here or there, your 3 out of 3 improved concentration aura is basically your boy. There's a high probability that you resist the incoming CC, or it just gives you enough time to get to another heal again, right? Worst case scenario is like you pop those two things, you Holy Shock healed yourself, you sat the rest of your bubble or a Blessing of Protection sad faced while counterspelled. Counterspell is only supposed to last 8 seconds. Or not even that. It's supposed to last like 7 seconds. Normally it's like 10 seconds of School Lock, but with your improved concentration aura, it's going to be like a 7-second duration. Blessing of Protection lasts 10 seconds. So I know for a fact that even if Counterspell is on the table, you're going to be able to get a Holy Light into yourself, and you're going to be able to get at least one Holy Shock into yourself before your Blessing of Protection wears off, which is all you fucking needed out of your Stone Form anyways, under those combat circumstances. Yeah, but under the vast majority of circumstances, however, especially in 2's Arena, Blessing of Protection and Stone Form is basically a full heal. The only time it's not a full heal is if the enemy can dispel it. That's harder to do than you would think because of how Stoicism works. Stoicism is giving you a 30% increased chance to resist spell effects, and it's very specifically... I need to drink water around here. It's very specifically an increase in your chance. So what that means is there's like a 5% chance for you to resist spells just caked into the game, period. With nobody being able to do anything about that whatsoever. Like, in spell penetration won't help you with that. Increasing your spell hit won't help you with that. Nothing will help you with the fact that there's a 5% chance that all spells just get resisted in the game, period, end of story. So it's not a 30% chance for you to resist their purge. It's a 35% chance for you to resist their purge. The purge school of magic is also usually arcane, believe it or not. I don't know if the priest purge is arcane or if it is holy. I'm pretty sure but I think it's arcane. So if you have any kind of resistance on you whatsoever, it'll also add to that. So if you've got like, I don't know, like a Mark of Wild on you or some shit, or you're rocking like the Violet Eye trinket that gives you like 45 arcane resist. That's also going to give you a really good increase to your chance to resist the purge. So now you're looking up at like 40% or closer to a 50% chance to resist the purge. It's really fucking scary. On top of the fact that your arena partner is probably putting a lot of pressure on the healer, so they may even not have the space and time to dispel your paladin. That's before we even talking about LOS or just hard CC on the enemy. So you tell your arena partner, like, not uncommon to, like, shut the fuck, to tell the priest to shut the fuck up for 6 seconds with your Hodge stun, followed up by a bop, followed up by stone form, followed up by you start healing yourself. And what the fuck is the rogue supposed to do? Right? That it's not going to get dispelled off you anytime soon. The rogue can't fucking stop you. That's basically a full heal. Even when the priest comes out, there's a 35% chance his dispel fucking whiffs. And if you have like a rogue arena partner or even a shaman arena partner, they might just tell him to shut the fuck up again. It's like, so it's basically just a full heal on your paladin. Absolutely insane once you learn how to use that stupid thing, especially against rogues. What else is there to say? You would do this anyways if it was on like your arena partner, like if your arena partner is the focus target for some reason as a defensive cooldown on a paladin. You would bop your arena partner. So we're assuming our arena partner has like 5 out of 5 wound poison on him, right? We would stun the priest, or we would go for the stun on the dispeller, bop our arena partner, and then stone form ourselves. And the reason why we're stone forming ourselves, am I wrong about that? Let me think. Yeah, I guess I am wrong about that because we would still be able to blind ourselves. I was thinking stone form worked against blind, but I'm wrong about that. No, I guess we would just start trying to heal him even though he's bopped and he still has a bunch of wound poison shit on him. But you'd still be using the whole stun the dispeller combo into bopping my ally combination. Blind can still fly our way. Not really all that much we can do about that. That's where like things like Skull of Impending Doom and shit start coming into play. In theory, we would have Blessing of Sacrifice, but if we bop our arena partner, we don't have Blessing of Sacrifice. So maybe the play might be to not bop our arena partner, but instead tell the dispeller to shut the fuck up, or to tell anybody who might interrupt our healing to shut the fuck up and go for Blessing of Sacrifice. But a good rogue is going to throw blind on you, even though Blessing of Sacrifice is going to pop it off just to interrupt your heals. So it's usually better just to go for the Blessing of Protection and then to suffer whatever CC is about to befall you as a paladin. But that's why Argent Defender Paladin doesn't give a shit. And I really like Argent Defender Paladin. So there's a bunch of nuance, but it is the better defensive option for your Paladin by a metric fuck-ass mile, because it's very pairable with Blessing of Protection. It specifically helps Holy Shock Paladins survive in one of their worst matchups. The two worst matchups for a Holy Shock Paladin, in my opinion, are double Palm Pyro Mage. Good fucking luck surviving that as a Holy Shock Paladin. Argent Defender Paladin will eat that comp for breakfast, but a Holy Shock Paladin will just fucking explode. And the other comp that a Holy Shock Paladin has a really big problem dealing with is Double Rogue. Double Rogue can put so much pressure on your Paladin that they basically just open on you, get out your bubble, and then re-stealth and do it over again, and you fucking die, and there's not much you can do about it. But if you have Stone Form, it becomes more problematic for Double Rogue because your Bop and your Stone Form act like another bubble. So it's not, hey, let's go get out this Paladin's bubble, and then go back into stealth and do it over again, because they have to worry about a second fucking bubble from motherfucking Stone Form and Blessing of Protection. What's worse is that it's on a 3-minute cooldown. Both of those are on a 3-minute cooldown. So every 3 fucking minutes, they get to use another Stone Form Blessing of Protection combo. So it ends up being like really good protection against one of your issues as a Holy Shock Paladin. I like it on with Argent Defender Paladin. It's the stuff of nightmares for rogues. Argent Defender Paladin, aka Heal Reckoning Paladin. That's a. Can I even show you the stats? I don't think I can right now. That's a Paladin that is so insanely fucking durable that even double DPS comps struggle to get the bubble out of an Argent Defender Paladin. To put things in perspective, a Holy Shock Paladin might, if they're lucky and they know what they're doing, have like 14,000 effective HP in the arena. And that's with them having to spend like their Holy Shocks repeatedly healing themselves, and even their Holy Shock crit like purely defensively. And they're also a Dwarf with Stone Form, so they don't have to worry about the wound poison. It's like under best possible PvP combat circumstances, the enemy has to chew through 14,000 effective HP in order to get out a Holy Shock's bubble. Argent Defender Paladin is just AFK in arena without even like pushing trinkets or anything like that at like 16,000 effective HP. Without just AFK'd in arena. Oh shit, I need to answer the door. That getting out the bubble from an Argent Defender Paladin is so much fucking harder than to try to get out the bubble of a normal Paladin. And you pair that with Stone Form, and it's just like, it's good fucking luck. It is literally good fucking luck. There could be 3 fucking rogues in the arena in 2s through like some magical bug or some shit like that, and an Argent Defender Paladin would probably be like, yeah, this is okay. I can handle this. But only if it was a Dwarf. Absolutely terrifying. Absolutely fucking terrifying. Yeah, Stone Form, absolutely insane on Paladin. Kargoz just talked about how it's insane on Hunter. There are better offensive options. So, for example, if you're a deep ret Paladin and your battle plan is to go balls to the walls on offense because that's what you want to do, Stone Form is kind of hot garbage. It's not the worst thing in the world if you actually know when and where to use it. If you know deep ret, Stone Form is still fucking amazing because it means that the enemy team, especially paired with a Resto Shaman who has like Nature Swiftness, right? Or the instant fat fucking heals. It makes it so that as the Ret Paladin in the arena, the enemy have to focus your Shaman. There's no option for them to focus you as the Ret Paladin anymore, because you can literally just pop Stone Form and remove all the bleeds and poisons and disease effects. It saves you a GCD under a lot of circumstances, like, oh, I don't want to cleanse right now, I would rather Crusader Strike. Let me just use my Stone Form and remove this slow effect that's on me rather than cleansing. That right there makes it worth its weight in gold in a go. But backed up by that big fat instant heal from the Shaman means that you're not able to be the focus target anymore, which is actually one of the big weaknesses of Deep Ret Paladin at the higher levels of arena play. So if you're playing Alliance and you're going Deep Ret Paladin, Dwarf is still fucking amazing if you know what the hell you're doing. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, Human is still absolutely fucking terrifying and amazing because Perception is so good. Whew, I need to stop talking and take a deep breath. About to pass out. Other than that, Blood Elf Paladin is still really good because you can use just that silence both offensively and defensively. But it is debatable for any version of Paladin in the arena or in duels as to whether or not Stone Form is BIS. And there are, once you bring in like dual spec into the equation for PvP, it is very difficult for us to argue that Stone Form is not BIS PvP racial for Paladin. Like, very difficult for us to argue that. Because there's going to be times when you don't want to be a Deep Ret Paladin in the arena. And when that happens, Stone Form is your boy. And then even in the arena, there are many circumstances where Stone Form is still your boy. So anyways, I got a lot to say about Dwarf. Let's continue with the video.
Your Stone Form racial. It's incredible. Already at 10 minutes again, dude. Like, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, there's Desperate Prayer. I'll go back. Instantly heals caster for a bunch of shit. Yeah, so pairing Stone Form. Okay, so this is why he's saying don't play Human. It's literally cancerous ass. I was unaware that Desperate Prayer healed for this much. So if dwarves have access to an instant heal on, then it's just objectively better than a human because you're backing it up with stone form. Yeah. So it is what it is. Also, they got Chastise. Jesus Christ, man. Chastise looks fucking sexy. Stun, immobilizing them for 2 seconds? Like, what the fuck? Like, okay, yeah, objectively better. Jesus. Also, please don't bitch about the time, Kargoz. I'm probably, like, at an hour at this point. Fuck you.
The content, it's crazy, man. Chastise. This is another one, too. Like, it's something that, like, mini roots you. Is it really 2 seconds? I feel like it's less. I feel like the way talents are and, like, the gems ends up being, like, less. Mm-hmm. But when you get hit by Chastise, you get, like, rooted for a second, and it's a thing.
It's good, yeah.
20-yard range, so it's not super long. Night Elves. They have some plus stealth attack. You don't really see much Night Elves in the arena. I mean, other than Druids. Yeah. Some dodge. Bonus stealth detection. Provides 1 level of stealth detection, which is equivalent to 5 out of 5 Master of Deception. That's kind of cool, though. You know, the rogue talent in Subtree put 5 points in to get improved stealth. Druids, Night Elves just get that baked in for free. It's worth 5 talent points. Pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah, these are things. Night Elf Priest Racial.
I have no idea.
All right, gnomes. Gnomes. Really good. They're really good. I talked with my buddy Shades recently about what he's going to roll, what he's going to main for like roguelock. And he's a really good roguelock player. He plays UA, actually. And he's going gnome.
As a rogue?
And he's level. He's a
or a lock.
Rank 1 multi-glad, just like turbo need, been playing Warmane for the last 4 years while everybody else is doing whatever. Like, he just loves TBC Arena, right? And I really take his opinion seriously. You know, he's a silly dude, he's a funny dude, but he's also really good at Warlock, and he swears by Gnome. He's like, dude, your hardest matchups as a Warlock, especially if you're playing Roguelock,
okay, Warlock,
Escape Artist moves the needle more, and I kind of feel him on it, man. Like, you need to be so quick when a mage novas you of getting out of...
Yeah. The moment he said that, I was like, are we talking against mages? Because that's the one thing you'd be scared of as like an SL Warlock. Mages can blink on you, root you in place, and holy fuck will they have a way with your HP bar. And it doesn't really matter if you are SL Warlock or not at that point. You're going to get glassed. So I can see getting out of that Nova being a big deal. The big thing about mages, though, I keep trying to tell people this, but they don't really seem to get it, is that a Frost Mage's burst... Okay, 80% of their burst is coming from their fucking water elemental. Their water elemental is increasing their DPS by like 80%. It's not quite 100%. It's close, somewhere nearer to 80%. The reason for this is because he's casting frost bolts at you that do almost the same amount of damage as the frost bolts on the mage. But it also gives them a chance to, like, root you in place. And then every time you get rooted, out comes like an ice lance that'll crit you for like, 3,000 fucking damage. So those frost elementals, you can tell them to shut the fuck up with stuns. So that's what I like to do with my paladin. I was like, oh, nope, Hodge stun that piece of shit. Oh, God. And they've only got like 4,000, 5,000 HP, like no armor or something like that. So they're very easy to pop. So it's like one of the best things you can do to stop a Frost Mage's go is to just CC and kill their water elementals. Like straight up. Is just fucking murder the water elemental. There's going to be 2 of them because they have ice, Cold Snap. There we go. But Cold Snap's on like a 10-minute, like an 8-minute, 10-minute cooldown or some shit like that. So once you get through the 2 water elementals, the mages basically got nothing. Like, that is their go, is the fucking water elemental. Literally tell it to shut the fuck up in any way, shape, or form, and blow it the fuck up, and you'll stop kind of the go in their tracks. But it is important to get out of the Nova as quickly as possible because you're just going to get hit for like it's going to chunk you like really bad. And it's not guaranteed that 3,000 damage critical striking ice Nova or Ice Lance even gets you out of the fucking Nova.
That Nova to stop the debuffs from piling on you and give you the best chance of taking it off. So like as soon as you get Nova, you're trying to devour magic, and if you miss it, gets resisted, whatever, is real bad news. You might even have to Trinket out of a Nova. It's so bad because the mage can just unleash hell on you, just spamming.
That's the other thing I forgot to mention about Stoicism and the 35% chance to resist a Dispel, is that very often on your Paladin you have multiple things that need to be dispelled when you're bopping yourself. So when you get hit with a Priest or a Shaman Purge, it does one Dispel. My bad. It dispels two things. But there's always a very high likelihood that each of those two things has like a 35% chance to resist. And then at that point, it's like a coin toss as to whether or... I don't know how the coding works. So all I know is that when I bop myself... am I right about that as Paladin? When I bop myself, I won't have access to any other blessing on me. Oh, right, it's the seal. Right, so my seal is usually active when they're going for the Dispel. And then both of those have like a 50% chance to Dispel, and then or 35% chance to resist. And then it ends up being like a weird coin toss as to like what the fuck ends up actually coming off of you. You would be shocked how often you bop yourself as a Paladin and you watch a Shaman hit Purge and the bop is still fucking there. Like, I feel like it's over a 50% chance that the bop is still present after one Dispel. And you can literally see the confusion on the Shaman's face. Usually because they, like, go for a Dispel, then they start running at you, and then they're like, wait a minute, did that not work? It's pretty funny.
Fringe Ice Lances into your face, like,
Go back.
because the mage can just unleash hell on you, just spamming cringe Ice Lances into your face. Like,
Yep.
So... being able to...
literally, it's like the Ice Lance comes in, crits you for like 3k, you're like, motherfucker, and you're still rooted, which means there's another Ice Lance on the way in that can crit you for like 3,000 fucking damage, and you're just like, oh my, you gotta get out of it. You have to get out of it. Like I don't know how to explain you have to get out of it harder. You either have to get out of it or you have to be a Giga Chad. And there's only 2 Giga Chads that can eat Ice Lances to the face like that. It'd be fine. The first one is SL Warlock, kind of, sort of. And the other one is Argent Defender Paladin. Both those guys are such effective HP gods that they can kind of, sort of deal with it. But the elephant in the room, of course, is the Rogue. Right, is whatever other DPS is present and accounted for in that situation.
To reliably get out of that Nova. Let's say Warrior is able to...
But we're basically describing the same thing right here, where it's like getting out of that Nova ASAP is worth thousands of effective HP. And it's kind of everything.
To connect on the charge with you, you're barely... You know, that's a huge thing as a Warlock. Like, you're getting out there and you're trying to get like a Curse of Exhaustion on the Warrior before he can get within charge range of you or intercept range or whatever.
Try to guide him,
because you'll get him into combat.
Oh, in combat? Okay,
and
makes sense.
You stop the snowball from building. Like, once he connects with you, then he has enough rage to get to the next rage milestone, and the rage just builds and builds. But like sometimes like they'll be able to get that charge on you if you could just insta escape artist out of it and like maybe coil him off you or something, and he doesn't get that hamstring on you. Like, it's a huge deal, man. Like, it's a huge deal. There's all types of movement speed reductions and mobilization. It's a very, very versatile and incredible racial. And from a Warlock POV, I see insane value with it because Warlocks are like turrets. Like, you have some of the least mobility in the game. Mm-hmm. You pretty much have no mobility.
Yep.
You get a root on you.
The turreting classes are a Paladin trying to heal, a Shadow Priest. They got no mobility enhancers whatsoever. Don't really have any range slows. They got, like, Mind Flay. That's about it. But they're basically a fucking turret. And then Warlock. Warlock's the other turreting class. Yeah. Okay, so when we say turreting class, what we mean is, like, a class that is incredibly fucking dangerous within a very small area. But if you run away from it in a straight line, they got nothing. They like, no, wait, come back. They have no range slow, no interceptability, no faster movement speed. They did give kind of sort of slows to Paladin and increased movement speeds to Paladin. But when you're talking about a turreting class, you're talking about a no wait come back class. But to compensate for this, and this is good game design, they're like they're combat monsters within like their small area of influence.
You get a, you know, you have to dispel that with your Fell Hunter. If you get a slow or something, like a crippling, like you just have to deal with that. You're just walking around like a potato. So Escape Artist on a 1 minute cooldown, very, very good. Very, very good. And more mana too. Draenei, Gift of the Naru. There's some implications with this. Gift of the Naru.
Gift of the Naru would actually be amazing and worth talking about if it wasn't a 1.5 second cast. It's still really fucking good, especially on Paladin, and it has its place. It's just not a fucking stone form, man. Because it gives a hot. There's a lot of the other classes don't really care about this all that much. Like Shaman, it's still kind of good on Shamans because Shamans don't really have access to any other form of hot. Paladin doesn't have access to any other form of hot. There's a world where, you know, pre-casting this before going all in on your enemy in the arena is legitimate, right? Because it's just good. But there's just classes that have hots. Giving them more hots doesn't really move the needle for them all that much because they would rather have like an instant cast heal ability because hots can be purged. That's kind of the big counter to a hot is purge. Hots have their strengths and weaknesses basically. But on classes that don't have access to hots, giving them access to a hot is a legitimate thing and worth talking about. So that's Paladin and Shaman specifically. But it still has that 1.5 second cast. Gift of the Naru is much, much, much better, I think, in Wrath of the Lich King, where they basically made it instant. You also have like the herbalism hot in Wrath of the Lich King, which is incredible. So it's worth talking about. But
Naru, like you can like bait kicks with it, like it's on its own school of magic. So you can do that, and I think it does heal a good amount. Actually, it's
got a good
like
spell power ratio.
Healing or something.
Yeah,
like some people think it's good, but you don't really see much Draenei's in the arena. Godspeed. I mean, it's one of those classes. Like if you roll like a Draenei Shaman or something, like it's okay. Like it's fine.
Okay, let's read that really fast. For healing classes that play Draenei, this is the best heal in the game as it scales 1-to-1 with plus healing and is completely free as well as being on its own school. Okay, cool. Gift can be used in arena PvP to bait people into kicking or counterspelling, allowing you to free cast spells. Yeah, okay, that's also cool. Its number one use by far is in Shaman specifically, and in Paladin specifically, I do believe. Because like it not only is it, fuck, what am I trying to say here? So let's say I'm a paladin in the arena, like Draenei, for example, right? There's going to be a point in the arena probably where I'm forced to bubble, and then I have to heal myself back up to full, and then I have to heal my arena partner to full as best I can, and this bubble is going to wear off me, right? Under these circumstances, I don't have any wound poison on me. I don't have any mortal strike on me. It's going to take a rogue in the arena a while to stack back up wound poison on me. There is a world where the last thing I want to do before this bubble wears off is put a Gift of the Naru on me, on myself specifically, because this bubble's about to wear off and I'm about to be the focus target again. It's worth, right? Like it is Gucci. Is it as good as Stone Form? No. The other way to use it, of course, is offensively. You put it on yourself or your healer, and then you pull the trigger on your go. So I can see that as like a rep paladin. If you're like a Draenei rep paladin, you can put it on your theoretically a Draenei shaman, believe it or not, and then it's go time. Not the worst thing in the world. Like it's literally not the worst thing in the world.
It's fine, but it's not fine. But it's one of those things.
They have Chastise too? What the fuck? A little bit of a harder hit. Is that the same Chastise? Greatly increase morale of party members, giving them 33 mana per 5, lasting 15 seconds. Okay.
Just grind games out and get,
weird.
Get the job done. Okay. Orcs.
143 spell power, 282 attack power at level 70. They're really good. Orcs are really good.
Hardiness is good.
Orcs. The only thing holds back orcs is like what class can they be. So if you were like an orc paladin, this would be like Nutter Butters for like Ret, right?
Probably the best racial here. Chance to resist stun effects increased by 15%. This makes it so like if you're an orc warrior, you actually talent differently because of this hardiness. You have 5% base chance to resist stun plus this 15%. You have 20% base chance really just being an orc to resist stun. And then you factor in like the meta gem, the talents. I think you can get to like 50% chance to resist, right? And that's one of just the cringe things about TBC. There's already so much RNG and you're trying to stun an orc. And, you know, they get second win when they get stunned. When you're playing a rogue, you'll understand. Going up against orcs, it's so frustrating. Yeah. It feels like you're just playing a casino every time you go for that kidney shot on them, and you know yourself, like, there's no way around it. Like, I have to go for this kidney shot. Like, there's no way I cannot go for this kidney shot. But this MF has a 50% chance to reduce this right now. So let me just pray to the Lord that it connects.
Yep.
Yeah. Damage dip by Hunter and Warlock pets, kind of whatever. The pets don't do much damage anyway. The Blood Fury is pretty good. I think like Warrior, Druid, Warrior, Shaman could benefit from Blood Fury a good amount. So yes, you Mortal Strike yourself, but you use it early enough that you're going to be...
It really depends. In my assessment, and I could be wrong about this, it depends on the focus target, right? So if the enemy team is like, let's go kill this motherfucking piece of shit Shaman, which is like your arena partner, and you can see them using all manner of major cooldowns that to kill your Shaman, that they will no longer have to be able to suddenly swap focus to you if you pop your Blood Fury. Yeah, go for it. Go for your fucking Blood Fury. It's like, it's just one of those things where you have to be really careful where you use Blood Fury, because that reduces healing effects on you is cancerous ass. He's about to, I think, explain, and I didn't know this about it, that unlike classic WoW, it won't double dip. Or maybe it doesn't do that anymore in classic WoW. I haven't played Orc in a million years. But there used to be a time period where if you had like a Mortal Strike effect on you and you pop Blood Fury, your healing's reduced by 75%. But he's about to explain that doesn't exist anymore. So if you've got 5 out of 5 wound poison on you or Mortal Strike, then there's no reason for you not to be popping Blood Fury.
Able to survive with other defensive cooldowns regardless, so it's kind of the liability is you're hedging against it. And a lot of times you're going to have an MS effect on you anyway. But the upside of it is you get 282 attack power. That's in addition to your trinket. Like, that's insane. Like, that's a crazy amount of attack power. 143 spell power sounds a little bit less impressive, but it's still not nothing, you know? So for me, as a Warlock playing Warlock Rogue, this was like my sleeper hidden tech that I'd do. Like, I'd pop Blood Fury insanely early. And there's sometimes that you are actually at jeopardy of dying within 15 seconds as a Warlock. Like, you can absolutely, if somebody just sees Blood Fury on you and they just dogpile on you, like you're going against double dog or something, like, you can just die. So it can definitely backfire.
Double dog is double rogue.
But if you can survive through the 15 seconds, Blood Fury is taking the place of a Mortal Strike effect. You can only have one on you. So as soon as it falls off, you can Hellstone. You can Hellstone and you can coil and you can shoot back up in health. And there's a trinket, there's a healing trinket as well that I would use as well. And that was like my jam. Like, I'd be able to shoot back up in health and just gain like, 50% health back all of a sudden once my Blood Fury falls off. And that's pretty cool. So it's a good race. It's a really good race. I mean, it's the PvE bis as well. I don't think you're gonna have a bad time going Orc. It's really, really good.
Orc is annoying. Oh, God damn it. Orc is annoying because it's like incredibly solid. It's just not at the highest level of arena. Let me get past this fucking advertisement. Let me be that level of disrespectful to this advertisement. Okay, cool. So at the highest level of arena or PvP and TBC, it ceases to be about what is good in general and becomes about how do I plug holes in very specific matchups? And the Orc doesn't really plug holes very well in very specific matchups, but it is a well-rounded monstrosity that you are never unhappy to be under just about any combat circumstances. One of these fucking abilities is going to be your boy at some point in a fight, basically.
Undead. Wotif. Wotif and Cannibalize.
Will of the Forsaken.
18 minutes. Why does the time fly so fast?
Fuck you, bro. I'm over an hour on
hours
this.
worth of TBC arena content by the time we're done with this.
Preaching to the choir.
Cannibalize is actually really good. It's really good in the arena, believe it or not. All the time, bro. It's a rogue versus whoever left in the arena. And if you're undead and you have Cannibalize, that's a huge deal because you're able to, like, first of all, get some value from your Band-Aid. And maybe if a Hellstone, if your Warlock gives you one. But being able to cannibalize in a 1v1 is like big healing. Healing is very limited in Arena. Like, not every class can eat. Only mages have food, right? So if you're not playing with like a mage, we played Roguelock, right? So we had no access to mage food or water or something. So all the time, this is super common situation. I die, it's the rogue left. It's rogue versus whoever, and they're trying to regen. So what they do is they put on spirit weapons with the plus spirit and shit. They're sitting in stealth, regenerating, trying to like dodge the person as they're getting eye and blah, 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 blah. You're trying to bandage on cooldown, go back to the starting room. And believe it or not, Cannibalize comes in handy more than you would think, getting some healing from it. So it's not nothing in the arena. It's not a meme. Will of the Forsaken, though, is really, really good. There's tons of fears. And, like, from the Warlock perspective, as someone who's dishing out fears, like, someone having Wotif really affects your strategy. And it makes you feel like you really sometimes just can't kill them on the front.
Yeah, it's cancer because he's specifically talking about undead for rogue purposes. So it's like there's a rogue on you. You're trying to cast a fear on this motherfucker. He's kicking you. He keeps kicking you. He's like, causing spell pushback. You're like, motherfucker. Finally, you get a fear off on him, and he will have forsakens it. And you're like, God damn it. And that's enough time to like bridge the gap to being like, kicked and interrupted and fucking pushed back and shit again. And you finally get another fucking fear on this piece of shit. And he PvP trinkets it, which lets him bridge the gap into like another fucking set of like CC. Yeah, you get the idea. Exactly what Paladins will do with PvP trinket and bubble versus a Warlock fearing them. Will of the Forsaken basically does the exact same thing.
First go, you're going to have to reset and wait for another go and wait for fresh DRs because that Wotif is going to be able to take them out of a really critical fear. And that's part of the reason, probably the main reason why like Shades goes UA when he's playing Lock, even if you're way squishier. Okay. The fact that you have instant howl and you're able to almost like chew through that Wotif immediately. That means like, because like there's almost no way they're sitting that. They're going to like Wotif like, every time. Yeah. And you're sitting there doing what you got to do. Like they're going to reach a point where you're going to be able to hit him with fresh fear DRs.
Yeah. Because otherwise you're...
But Wotif is really good. You can potentially use it multiple times in the arena. You can pre-use it. To have immunity to charm, fear, and sleep. The only one that really is an impact here is fear, though. I can't really think of one with sleep. Oh, actually, no. Hunter, Wyvern.
Yeah, Wyvern Sting.
Sting.
Yeah,
that's a thing. I played that actually for a bit, and it was annoying having to deal with Wotif. But it's immunity to fear, but like Death Coil is a horror effect. It just is a random Warlock.
As this is a Paladin channel, if you can't find your Blessing of Sacrifice in Arena, you're doing it wrong. So, like our counter to our Will of the Forsaken on Paladin is literally finding our Blessing of Sacrifice in our spellbook. Like, I shit you not.
Specific tech here, but like
doesn't do anything against the
fear.
But
you can still
charm,
like
sleep,
deal with them for a second, and you just go right into the coil again. If you wait a second, the last 5 seconds, right? Death Coil's 3. Okay. You wait a second or two, you coil them, and then like as that's falling, like their Wotif falls off, and then you get them into the fear.
Ooh.
Shadow resistance, really good. That's not nothing as well.
Okay, so he's basically explaining how Death Coil is a terror, not a fear. So it will punch right through their Will of Forsaken and get them the fuck off of you. And then their fear cast is like 1.5 seconds at worst, because there is haste, right, in TBC. So they can nail your ass with that fear a little bit earlier, and there's anything you can do about it. Otherwise, the rogue will have like their deadly throw or whatever the fuck. They have a ranged interrupt, that is very fast moving. It's not instant, but it's pretty fucking fast moving. So if you death coil the, yeah, okay, whatever, you get the idea.
Oh, that's a consideration as well. Like there are certain breakpoints with resistance and hit cap and stuff that are a factor in TBC.
All right, let me go back. Like, but because I agree with that beyond repair, but
oh, that's a consideration as well. Like there are certain breakpoints with things. Like you wait a second or two, you coil them, and then like as that's falling, like their wotif falls off, and then you get them into the fear. Shadow resistance really good. That's not nothing as well.
Okay,
that's not
got it.
That's a consideration as well. Like there are certain breakpoints with
right. So what he's probably talking about in Arena, and this happens in Wrath of the Lich King as well, is every spellcaster in the game who is worth their salt in Arena will be hitting a very specific amount of spell penetration on their gearing. They'll get like the 20 spell pen enchant on the cloak. I must be talking for over an hour and a half now because my voice is starting to go. Let me check. Oh yeah, exactly over an hour and a half. So a lot more coughing, a lot more pausing, a lot more drinking water around here. Oh boy. There we go. The idea behind spell penetration in Arena is that you take just enough spell penetration to be able to counter a Mark of the Wild on your enemy. In theory, you want, if your comp has Purge, you don't have to do that, but it's still in your best interest anyways at the highest level because it will often save you a GCD, or your Purge could be resisted, or it could be taking too long to purge because you're purging off other crap and you're not quite getting off their you're not quite getting off their Mark of the Wild. Then there's also Paladins to take into consideration, and then there's Shamans putting down resistance totems to take into consideration. Then there's also Fell Hunters and their resist to take into consideration. And then there's also, yeah, so you get the idea. So as a general rule, people will go into the arena with exactly enough spell penetration on their gear to be able to ignore a Mark of the Wild, like if that becomes a factor. And then they're basically like, they just give it up to the RNG gods as to whether or not it's like, you know, the 70 resistance from the Paladins and from the Shamans and from the whatever the fuck. They're like, fine, whatever, have your, like, you know, 30 resistance to my spells. It's not worth it for me to get additional penetration in the gems to counter you guys specifically. But then, of course, you have the elephant in the room, which is all these, like, racials, which add another 10 shadow resistance to the equation. In TBC, 11 resistance is 2.5% resistance, plus 2.5% resistance chance. So when he's saying that this shadow resist is not nothing, he's basically saying that it's like a 2.3% additional chance to resist shadow spells. And that's pretty much guaranteed if you're in a comp that has any kind of additional shadow resistance floating around. Or if the player is smart enough to slap on a piece of shadow resistance gear, or to take additional shadow resistant enchants and to try to really synergize with this. It's hard to explain how this isn't nothing, but it's only not nothing at like the highest levels of PvP where you'd really notice something like this. And it basically needs to be leaned into as well. So, for example, I came out with a video recently called, like, you know, Paladin, Immortality Protocol, a little bit of resistance in my life. I am specifically scared on my Argent Defender Paladin versus Double Palm Pyro Mage. So you bet your ass I'm going to take a little bit of fire resistance gear on my Paladin, right? Specifically for this reason. a racial stat like this is not enough to move the needle on its own. But if you're in the right comp, and or you're smart enough to put on like a little piece of gear here for shadow resistance, or a little piece of gear there for shadow resistance, or to swap this enchant for some shadow resistance here, swap that enchant for a little bit of shadow resistance there. You're going to have 15 shadow resistance on your cloak, for example. There's no reason for you not to. Synergizes incredibly well with this shadow resistance gear here. You can very quickly find yourself at the highest levels of Arena, where you're starting to get a concerningly high win rate against a matchup that you would otherwise lose because you have your fucking shadow resist, or your frost resist as a dwarf, or your motherfucking arcane resist. I think it's as a blood elf. God damn, man, that helps with your purge protection like fucking hell.
Resistance and hit cap and stuff that are a factor in TBC.
Okay.
Like you need spell penetration. Spell penetration like counters resistance.
Yes.
So this is not nothing.
It is not nothing. It is actually legit. But you gotta know what you're
Devouring
doing.
Plague for priests. You see a lot of undead priests.
That's really good.
They're more aggressive. Devouring Plague does a lot of damage, and I believe it heals as well.
I think so too, yeah.
It costs a lot of mana as well, though. But you see a ton of undead. It's really good. It's a really good race, and you see a lot of like double undead. DPR is like something you're gonna have to deal with a lot. This deals a ton of damage.
This priest rogue. Okay.
It's good. It's not something you like don't use. Devouring Plague. Also, like SPR, that's something that like in the early season, Shadow Priest Rogue, you'll see a lot of, and they're most of the time going to be double undead. Okay, going into trolls, berserking. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I don't know, like it's
berserking is more legit than he's actually going to talk about it. The elephant in the room is that there's other racials that are just better. The way berserking works, I do believe, and I could be wrong about this, is if you pop this thing at full life, it'll give you 10% haste. Okay? So it's good. It's good on its own, just using at full life, period. It's when you start getting low life that this thing starts going Super Saiyan. The problem is, it's like, the elephant in the room is like, what fucking class do we take this thing on? Because Orc is available, like an Orc Shaman versus a Troll Shaman? God damn. That's probably going to move the needle for you more than being like a Troll Shaman, but haste is still like legitimate, right? So the haste buff from berserking might fuck with is it just offensive spells? Casting and attack speed. The haste buff from berserking might fuck with people's you know how you can see the enemy's cast bar, and at the highest levels of PvP, if they're casting a heal, you'll wait till the last second to interrupt the heal? Yeah, don't be surprised if the berserking doesn't register with that buff, and next thing you know, you're getting off heals that you shouldn't be getting off because people are kicking you at the wrong time. Because the cast bar on their screen says you should still be casting, when in reality, berserking is fucking with that. There are some trinkets and stuff in the game that mess with it. I can't remember if berserking is one of them or not. What else here? The health regeneration rate, 10%. Total health regeneration, that's not nothing. Chance to critically hit with bows, that's actually a big fucking deal. Because resilience is a thing. But the elephant in the room is the fucking orc. I think the only thing an orc can't be is a priest. That a troll can be. So you just don't see trolls. But berserking is legit. It is legit. It is legit. It is legit. It is legit.
Trolls kind of off meta. Like you don't really see much trolls in the arena. It's probably fine. Like you just get some value out of it, I guess. It's whatever. I don't really even know. Like this is. This is interesting though. Okay, there is something to talk about.
Shadow Guard.
Me and my buddy.
Shadow Guard is absolutely fucking insane. Mostly because of blackout procs. The Shadow Guard acts like a lightning shield, but for a troll priest, and basically means that when you get touched, and there's a every I want to say 3 seconds or some shit like that, The enemy will take shadow damage, and it can do blackout procs, and that is cancerous ass to your opponent's DPS, and it's really, really good for your priest ability to kite people around. On top of the damage it does to enemies, it's literally insane. But really, it's about the blackout procs more than anything, in my experience.
Brand, we came up with this concept. We called it Duratar Cleave. It was kind of funny, like Valley of the Trials Cleave. You'd go Orc Warlock, and you'd go Troll Priest. And Troll Priest, having Hex of Weaknesses is a curse, and it provides like a little mini baby Mortal Strike. There's no cooldown on it.
Yeah, it's really
and
good.
It's actually really good. It gives you like layered curse protection. So if you put Tongues and Weakness both on someone, like are they...
It's not quite as good as you would think. Like let's pause and put this in perspective here. Okay? Mini baby Mortal Strike my ass. So a true Mortal Strike, okay, I am going to reduce incoming heal by 50%, is a 100% increase to DPS flowing onto that target. Okay? If the target is catching heals and it has a true Mortal Strike on it, for all intents and purposes, you've doubled the amount of DPS flowing into that target. A minus 20% healing is only a 25% increase in DPS. So a true Mortal Strike is 100%. This Hex of Weakness is a 25% increase in DPS. Okay? So mini baby Mortal Strike my ass. But at the same time, it's not fucking nothing. Like that is that it's really fucking good. Especially since there's no CD on it and it's like a ranged ability. We're talking it's legit. But mini baby Mortal Strike my ass. If it was like a 50% or a 33%, I'd be like, okay, I'm on board. But at a 20% DPS increase, meh.
I'm really going to bother decursing at that point. The Warlock dots are way heavier.
Oh,
because you have this little baby Mortal Strike.
We're doing double
just
DPS.
Chipping away, like you're just getting 20% kind of more value from everything.
25%.
So Hex of Weakness, Agony with Tongues, whatever, layering it on, and Shadow Guard is not nothing as well. This actually does hella damage.
It does.
Shadow Guard's really good. So you'd go Troll Priest, you'd play super hyper aggressive, and you'd partner up with like an Orc Warlock, and go live your best Duratar themed life, and play what do they call it? DPL, Disc Priest Lock.
If you think about what he's saying in conjunction with the fact that berserking gives you like 10% haste even when you like just use it, then again you're a shadow priest, so you don't really have spell spam that benefits from haste. Okay, I'm talking at my ass in this one. I was like, okay, yeah, this is plus 25% damage for the two of you, and I was about to say, well, if you're berserking, that's an additional damage to it, but shadow priest is like meh. If you were like a Disc Priest casting Smite, then okay, yeah, I'm on board.
Aggressive mana burning with power infusion, like just playing hyper aggressive. You both don't have Woda for it, whatever like that, but it's really good. We actually had a ton of success on it on the private server, but we didn't really play it so much on TBC Classic because he didn't have a Troll Priest. It was easy to do it on the private server to like make a template of one. But curious if you guys have had success with that. Like, I think this is actually like kind of sleeper tech, this Hex of Weakness. All right, Tauren, Blood Elves are almost there, man. Hang in there, dude. 24 minutes already. Insane. There really is a lot to talk about, though, right? Like, I feel like I'm not just flapping my gums, like... Okay, War Stomp, really good, amazing. I don't know how you can, in good faith, play Night Elf Druid. It must be so physically painful not having War Stomp. So good, dude. Like, War Stomping, like War Stomp and then cast something like a Cyclone off the back end of it. Like, how do you do it, man? How do you play a Night Elf Druid, bro? You have less health. You don't have... It's brutal. Nature resist. Like, Tauren's insane, honestly. Tauren's really good. Like, if I was playing a Shaman, I think I'm going Tauren every time. Like...
That nature resist is not nothing. Like, that nature resist is really good. I don't know if Night Elves get nature resist, but that nature resist is not nothing. Why? Because, like, Cyclone is a nature resist check, I do believe. Earth Shock is a nature resistance check. What the fuck else is in the game that's a nature resistance check that makes you want to cringe and pull your fucking eyeballs out of your head? No, it's not. It's not nothing. And you're a fucking druid or some shit like that. Like nobody plays Tauren for just about anything except a druid, believe it or not. Maybe Tauren warrior because you still get that increased melee attack range. You can bitch slap people that through pillars that are humping pillars. Maybe they fixed that in TBC. I don't really know. Hard to say. War Stomp is just insane. Like in fucking sanely good. On top of the endurance, like there's just everything to love here. It's like Orc. It's like a different flavor of Orc, where it's just a well-rounded monstrosity.
If I'm playing Druid or Shaman, I'm gonna go Tauren every time. There's so many meaningful things you can do within this War Stomp stun duration stuff that like it's really hard
Shaman?
to get. There's so many meaningful Druid or Shaman.
Okay. Interesting. Shaman. Let me think about it in Shaman. War Stomp is both a good offensive and defensive cooldown for a Tauren Shaman. The endurance is not nothing. The nature resistance is not nothing. The elephant in the room, of course, is Orc Shaman or Troll Shaman. Since rogues are the apex predators of fuck you in the arena, I think Orc Shaman would be better than Tauren. But I really don't know if I can definitively say I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So, in theory, you're going to take the meta gem in your helmet that gives you stamina and a 5% increased chance to resist stuns. That does not stack with anything, but racials are different. Like stack with any other talents or skills or anything like that, but racials are different. No, wait a minute. I take it back. That meta gem does stack. I think, yeah, because it works with stoicism as well. Right. Okay, I'm correct about this. At least I think I'm correct about this. So, if you're an orc, you'll have the meta gem giving you a 5% chance to resist stuns. You'll have your base 5% chance to resist stun that's built into every class, and then you have the additional 15% chance on top of that. You're just running around as an orc shaman with like a 25% chance to resist stuns. Compared or War Stomp. I think Orc is better, but I would be lying if I didn't say War Stomp wasn't. War Stomp is a legitimate offensive option, more so than it is a legitimate defensive option. Like let's put it that way. I could go either way on Orc. Like, if I see a Tauren Shaman, I'm like, cool. If I see an Orc Shaman, I'm also like, maybe a little bit better. Maybe a little. It's just because of how oppressive rogues are. Oh, right. That's the other elephant in the room. Fuck. All the goddamn poisons that the rogue is applying on you, okay, or attempting to stack up on you, are a fucking nature resistance check. So nature resistance, having like a piece of nature resistance gear on you or dropping like a nature resistance totem or some shit like that is not nothing in the arena versus a rogue. Like, I shit you not, if you're like, I'm going to swap some enchants around, get a little bit of nature resistance going on my shaman. I have, like, I'm a Tauren with the nature resistance racial. That alone will make up for the fact that you're not a fucking orc. So you're going to get stunned more because you're not an orc, but dear God, is a rogue going to have a lot more problems putting and keeping up and keeping on you their poisons. It's legit. Like, on top of the fact that it gives you cyclone protection, like, goddamn. Like, goddamn. Do not neglect your nature resistance on certain classes. Like, as a paladin, I can play the resist game with anything and everything except nature resistance. Nature resistance is the one resistance that I can't play the resistance game on. And since I have cleanse and I'm a dwarf, so I have stone form, I don't really need to versus rogue poisons. But if I didn't have access to those, and you gave me like a nature resistance aura or a nature resistance totem or mark of the wild, you bet your Paladin ass that I would be like, yeah, I'm going to get a ring that has nature resistance on it, or a trinket that has nature resistance on it, or a neck piece that has nature resistance on it. I'm going to figure out, like, which spell slots I can swap out for nature resist. Yeah, I'm going to have 20 plus 20 nature resistance to my fucking helmet. I don't need plus 35 healing. That's not going to move the needle for me anywhere more than pretty much guaranteeing that rather than 5 out of 5 wound stacks, I'm going to have 4 out of 5 wound stacks. I'm going to resist fucking cyclones that are going to try to... Fuck yeah. Oh yeah, I'm going to sign me up for that shit. Are you crazy? On top of that, we have War Stomp and we have nature resistance. Yeah. I know math. I can do math. Sign me up for that shit. Okay, cool. I'm sold on Tauren. Even Orc would be fucking amazing because I would have nature resistance protection on top of my stun protection. Like, what? Yeah. Take some nature resist gear on your fucking shamans. You absolute horde clowns.
I'm gonna go Tauren every time. There's so many meaningful things you can do within this War Stomp stun duration stuff that like it's really hard to get casted spells off in general. And that's what you're gonna see, like why certain comps aren't super viable, and like why, like, even like Warrior Shaman.
War Stomp is necessary for Kamehamehas in the arena. Okay, so in classic WoW, the way Shaman works is I grenade stun you and I go for a Kamehameha. Or that Kamehameha is at a minimum it's a chain lightning into an earth shock. Ideally it is a lightning bolt, a 2-second lightning bolt cast into a 1.5 second a chain lightning into an earth shock. So 3.5 seconds of spell casting into an earth shock. That's a lot easier to get off than you would think in a 3-second grenade stun because the grenades have travel time. So you throw the grenade at the enemy at like a 20-yard, and it hits them at like 20 yards distance. That travel time is very close to 0.5 seconds of travel time. Very easy for a shaman to be already casting their lightning bolt even before the grenade stun is coming through. So it gives them a really good Kamehameha. The title charm trinket, which may or may not still be a thing in TBC, also giving them access to like a stun into Kamehameha combo. When you're in the arena, you don't have access to grenade, so you're very much... I would like to find some source of stun so I can Kamehameha on a motherfucker. And if that's not coming from your arena partner, War Stomp is a good alternative for that, especially since it can stun multiple targets. Shamans really need at least a 1.5 second stun, preferably a little bit longer than a 1.5 second stun, also preferably on a very quick cast time or an instant cast to be able to get their Kamehamehas off. The other trinket, elephant in the room, I do believe, at least in Classic World of Warcraft, is Goblin Mortar. So it's like Goblin Mortar, War Stomp, fucking Title Charm. Druids start chaining that shit together, and yeah, it's some serious Kamehameha. The other form of burst that they will do is they will drop down a Fire Nova Totem. They'll have it talented, so it's like a 2-second activation time. Then they go for the War Stomp, right? Stun their target for 2 seconds, and then it's Chain Lightning, Earth Shock, Kamehameha time. And you get hit with all 3 of that shit at the same fucking time, and it's legit. Yeah, so if Title Charm is a thing in Arena, and or Gnomish Netomatic is the other one that they can Kamehameha off relatively consistently. Grenades and Goblin Mortar. If those things were available in TBC Arena, which they kind of sort of aren't, then War Stomp value would drop like a rock. But since they aren't available in Arena, War Stomp is fucking amazing. Can you get off 2-second fat heals as a shaman? If you have haste gear, I think the answer is yes. if you have a spell haste trinket, I think the answer is yes. So you can War Stomp, stun everybody, and then do a 2.5 second cast fat heal, or maybe 2 quick baby heals, like lesser healing waves. Lesser healing waves is actually a fat heal for a shaman. It's not like Paladin where it's like Paladin, it's like our Flash of Light. It doesn't heal very much, but it's insanely mana efficient. And then our Holy Light heals a shit ton, but it's nowhere near as mana efficient. The Shaman heals are virtually identical in their mana efficiency and their HPS. But you can get off a fat heal very, very easily with even some spell haste behind it within this War Stomp time period.
It is really good, but like it can get hamstringed at like a high level and stuff.
Let me see. What do you?
Really hard to get casted spells off in general, and that's what you're gonna see. Like why certain comps aren't super viable, and like why even like Warrior Shaman is really good, but like it can get hamstringed at like a high level and stuff because you have to cast literally everything as the Shaman. So
I honestly think that if we brought nature resistance into the equation, there's a legitimate conversation to be had about how good Orc Shaman becomes in the arena. Like, if we understand the value of what the fuck exactly it's doing to screw over rogues putting poisons on you, and to screw over cyclones, I think it's a legitimate conversation. Like, straight up. Like, the stun might move the needle more than War Stomp, but at the same time, man, if you have an extra 10% nature resistance and War Stomp, fuck off. Oh my god.
So with that, it just becomes kind of predictable.
Juicy.
And same thing with paladins, right? Where like priests and druids have so many instants that you can spend like the majority of your gameplay loop just casting instants, and very rarely have to go for that, go for that cast, and maybe you bait the kick out early and then spam it.
And that right there, what he's just describing, let me get a better picture of our boy here. That right here, what the fuck he is just describing is why Argent Defender Paladin is Heal Reckoning, Argent Defender Paladin, is objectively a better fucking healer in the arena than a Holy Shock Paladin, in my personal, professional opinion. It's because the Holy Shock Paladin doesn't have enough standing effective HP and durability to be able to weather the onslaught of interrupts to get off hard casting heals before they're forced to bubble. Like, it'll just be interrupt after interrupt after interrupt until they're finally forced to bubble, and by the time they're out of the bubble, it's interrupt city time all over again, right? Whereas the Argent Defender Paladin is so fucking tanky that he'll just walk out into the arena and be like, yeah, I'm going to start healing myself now. Okay, you interrupted me. That's cool. I'm going to go for another. I'm going to beat the shit out of you until my school unlocks. And then he'll do it over and over again. And this motherfucker will still be perfectly comfortable going for heals by the time the enemy team has run out of all their interrupts. And that alone makes him fucking terrifying. Because if the Holy Shock Paladin, if the healing Paladin can survive long enough that everything's on a DR and he's just free healing himself, and he's a dwarf, you're fucked. Like, it's difficult for me to describe how much value that gives you in arena, that you can just outlive all the CCs as a hard caster, and then without needing to use any major defensive cooldowns. It is insanely good. It's one of the reasons why when you go into the arena as a shaman, your best bet is to gem almost entirely resilience and to go like super heavy into resilience, because it gives you and like nature resist and shit like that, because it's going to give you the best chance, or maybe even arcane resist, because you'll resist like the nature resist. Fuck you. If you can outlast all the enemy's nonsense to interrupt your hard casting heal spells without using any major defensive cooldowns, your win rate skyrockets. Basically, you can convert defense into offense very easily.
For a while, and then you have it able to free cast again. Tauren's really good though.
Yes, it is.
Blood elves
are really, really fucking good.
You can play a Blood Elf rogue, make it work.
All resistances increased by 5. Interesting.
Gladiator, get rank 1. You know, it's possible. It's just, it's a harder road. Like I swear, Spank, I remember him telling me that you can get rank 1 as a Blood Elf rogue. Like you can, you know, like it's weird. Like playing a Blood Elf rogue isn't like offensive as playing like a human priest. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like Blood Elves aren't the most offensive thing. I don't, because like, you know, like you can't play a Blood Elf priest. Like the opportunity cost isn't, like you're not losing.
They're an incredibly good offensive option. Like just straight up, that silence is insanely good offensively, and it's nothing defensively. I can't remember if Arcane Torrent gives you back energy or not in TBC.
Losing Dwarf, you'd be losing Undead, which is still bad, but it's playable, it's serviceable. I'd say like the best class for Blood Elf in Arena
is Paladin.
Is Rogue, right?
Because I can't take anything
Being able
else.
to use this Arcane Torrent to good effect, like in between your small little windows of missing a kick or missing a gouge or whatever, that extra little like stop them from casting, pretty sick. And being able to get
again?
That your small
for who?
Being able to use this Arcane Torrent to good effect, like in between
for who?
Is Rogue, right?
Rogue, okay.
Windows of missing a kick or missing a gouge or whatever, that extra little like stop them from casting.
Yeah. If RNG
pretty
doesn't
sick.
go your
and being
way,
able to
like,
get energy from mana tap, also probably pretty sick.
Yeah, okay, so we can get energy from mana tap. Got it. It's not nothing.
Like, I bet you there's some people, some really good rogue players that obviously they know that undead.
Yeah, if you understand RNG management, Arcane Torrent is probably legit on a rogue, and a bunch of other classes too, like straight up.
And the other races are better, but like they probably think they can probably like actually like Blood Elf in a way. They kind of get excited by the idea of playing with these racials. These are not nothing. So reduces target's mana by 50% and charges you with arcane energy for 10%. I believe this gives you energy, right?
Yeah,
like, and maybe this keeps the person in combat. Like, you tell me, guys. Like, what are the weird interactions with mana tap? Like, if you're a rogue or something, like someone's trying to get a read, you see them far away, you just zap them with a mana tap from 30 yards. It's pretty far. Keeps them in combat. They can't get the stealth. When you use it, it gives you a buff the last 10 minutes, which acts as a charge, stacking up to 3. Yeah, useful to keep targets in combat, and the pull is 30 yards as a paladin.
Doesn't say anything about energy.
Oh, and the other thing with Blood Elf is Paladin. That's right. Like, Ret is not bad in Arena, I will tell you. But there's just one comp you can play, and it's like this Cactus Paladin comp. And the problem is, like, almost nobody knows how to play it to a high level. That might be different this time around because, like, people are just like more experienced. They've seen more games. They understand. But it's called Cactus Pally. It's like you.
Here, I'll tell you what we'll do because it's about to end. Okay, we're gonna go back. I'm gonna pull up this other video. We are going to go straight to the 20-minute mark, and we're going to hear him talk in depth about Cactus Paladin. I mean, I am Pally time, so we're talking Paladin. I might as well get up off my ass.
I think they ended up ranked 2 overall behind Mir and Uzbeki on Season 1. Mir and Uzbeki were playing Deep Conscience for people to study their capacity. A fluke of it's like a fluke.
20,
like you just snipe
22 minutes maybe? No, fine, fuck you, 22 minutes. Can't remember if it was 20 or 22.
Wild card is Ret Resto.
There we go.
Yeah, so if we faced a lot of double rogues and we can see how scary it is. So this is kind of a wild card. That's what I'm labeling that. The third wild card is Ret Resto. So this was popularized by a dude named Spank. I've talked about him a couple times. I've taken some lessons from him. He's like a EU multiclasser, and he came up with this idea of a Cactus Paladin, and it's a Reckoning Paladin. And Reckoning, if I recall correctly, is that talent with Paladins where you have a chance to, like, you build up these Reckoning stacks, and you have a chance to basically, it's like building up a bunch of like Wind Furies. So you build up all these Reckoning stacks, and you can potentially walk up to somebody and just right click one shot them. And the main. My experience playing against this.
Yeah, he's obviously wrong about that in TBC, but I'm going to let him cook, and then I'll say my piece on the subject.
Comp is they are able to put out a lot of pressure, more than you'd think, but they have these short little go burst windows when they're capable of just lashing out and hitting you with a ton of pressure, and they're also live lords. They can both heal, they can both retreat, they can drag the game out. And they have a little bit less like all-in type of goes and more like unexpected bursts of tempo, and they can live forever. You don't want to touch the pally. That's why it's called Cactus. It pricks you when you touch it, but you kind of have to because shamans are incredibly tanky. They're really tanky healers. So that's it for the A tier.
All right,
healers.
so he talks about like nobody can play it at the highest level. Let's see what he says over here. Let's go back, I guess.
Falling back, retreating back up to full, whenever, and with really meaningful little team down. You actually kind of play like half healer, half.
Okay.
It's called Cactus Pally. It's like you don't have like big obvious goes. You have little mini goes, and you wear your team down. You actually kind of play like half healer, half DPS, and you play with a Arsham, I believe. It's not Ellie, right? And you just live forever, and with really meaningful little like small go windows where you're dealing significant damage and then falling back, retreating back up to full. So if you're trying to play Blood Elf Paladin in TBC, you can have a really good experience with that. You can play the goated tank and live your best life, mana tap to pull, and then actually still play a respectable and feared comp. I'm talking like rank one, like literally the top of the ladder. Cactus Pally has achieved before. It is a really good like S tier comp, but like I said, almost nobody can play it.
All right. Oh, we're not done?
That's it, guys.
Okay, cool. He's like 12 minutes, blah, 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 blah. All right, I'll say my piece on Cactus Pally. So, let's go find it here. Crusader. Let's hope my internet's working. So I made a video a long time ago on the PTR. Don't think my internet's working right now. Crusader, yeah, no shit, something went wrong. Crusader. The internet cuts out like pretty fucking periodically around here for a few minutes. We'll try it again here in a second. But I made a video a while ago, and I still stand by that video, and an even more modern video, talking about how Crusader Strike isn't worth it, especially in the arena, because you just can't find, like, let's pull up some shit here. Okay, let's pull up this first. So I want to direct your attention down here. Okay. So, specifically here. So, this here is basically, right here. This is what a Ret DPS, Crusader Striking Ret Paladin's DPS looks like, or burst window, go window, whatever the fuck we want to call it, looks like when he has uninterrupted DPS. He's just free to DPS on his target. He ends up doing like 2 Judgments, 4 Twisted Autos, and 3 Crusader Strikes, all within about like a 12-second time period. I guess in a 13.5 second time period. I guess it versus, yeah, how much damage it does versus 40% armor target, blah, 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 blah. This is without taking into account, like, you know, any haste gear that the Paladin might have, Bloodlust the Paladin might have, and obviously we're not factoring in Wind Fury, right? We just want to get a raw look at the effects of Crusader Strike and how much DPS is flowing out of these Paladins, these Crusader Striking Paladins. If the Ret Paladin's DPS is stressed by like 30% GCDs, so like 30% of the Paladin's GCD has to go into cleanses, or he's getting like these little mini stuns all over the place or some shit like that, right? Like something's interrupting his free flow DPS. The first thing to go out of the rotation is no Judgment DPS, okay? That's not nothing, okay? It's not as much as you'd think it would be, but it's also not nothing. Also, he loses 1 out of 3 Crusader Strikes, okay, in the DPS. If the Ret Paladin is very stressed, so 50% or more of DPS uptime is either going to GCD, to cleanse, defensive GCD usage like cleanse, or like, you know, even more stuns are flowing out of him, or like, you know, slows or some shit like that, then we're looking at no Judgment and no Crusader Strike. This is a huge devaluing of Crusader Strike on your Paladin, which is probably why Cactus Paladin is even a thing. Yeah, and here you can actually see the GCD timeline. I saved it with a red bar over that. That's kind of sad. But here's me trying to figure it out. Let's retype in Crusader, see if my internet's back up. Crusader. Sucks. Don't make me go manually find this shit. God damn it, man. Why me? It's going to be one of the older videos. It was one of the first things I learned when I got on the PTR and I started looking at Shaman. So my internet's just go fuck myself. Okay, cool. But the Paladin build in question is a Paladin that most likely devalues Crusader Strike. Instead puts those additional like spare 10 talent points. Spirit Regen, TBC Healing, TBC Shaman, TBC Paladin. You fucked this up. So I need to go to like super older videos. These are all the videos, you cunt fuck piece of shit. TBC, show all. Thank you. Go to older Paladins. Jesus H. Jiminy Christ. It's going to be one of the first TBC Paladins videos I made. New God tier comp, proper PvP, why Seal of Blood is not going to be a thing in TBC. This is where I start talking about the GCD stuff. Catching Kiters, Reckoning Paladin, TBC is garbage, why dumb, probably for using gold, Classic WoW, Paladin, how to make everybody TBC, TBC, Holy Reckoning, properly gearing your Paladin, damage. I probably talk about it here in the Seal of Blood one. Only Paladin, screw blah 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 blah. Weird. I bet if I pull up the Seal of Blood one, Pitbull Pally, new TBC God comp. One of these videos, I'm gonna be like, I remember making a visual.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Pally time.
Fuck off. Where's it at? Weird. Kill it slowly, fast. What the hell? Kill stat priority? Weird. Anyways, one of my very old videos I made was talking about how Crusader Strike basically sucks balls because you can't really fit it into your GCD rotation very well. Dramatically, it basically has closer to like an 8-second cooldown, and that's if nobody's fucking with you. And if people are fucking with you, it's kind of closer to like a 10-second cooldown. And then if people are really fucking with you, it's got closer to like you can't fucking use it. So it's like, god damn it, man. And then you look at what you can spend the talent points on in the prot tree. You can pick up Stoicism in the prot tree. You can pick up 3 out of 3 concentration aura in the prot tree, which is not nothing for your Resto Shaman. That's actually a big-ass fucking deal for your Resto Shaman. You can get 35-second cooldown Hodge stuns out of the prot tree in exchange for Crusader Strike. And then you can make your way all the way down to motherfucking Reckoning, 5 out of 5 in the prot tree if you're willing to sacrifice Crusader Strike in the ret tree. You start looking at the opportunity costs of what Crusader Strike is really costing you in the ret tree, and it begins making perfect sense why in Arena you would actually not want to have Crusader Strike and instead be a Reckoning Paladin, especially paired in like a Live Lord type scenario with a Restoration Shaman. I can also see it working really well with a Elemental Shaman who is an all-plus healing gear. I wish I was joking about that. Because Eye for an Eye is actually really, my bad, Eye of the Storm is really fucking good. That might be the more offensive option, but you have to convince that Ellie Shaman. The reason for, okay, so we're on the same page here. All you really need out of the Resto tree for Cactus Paladin. I've never actually played this comp in the arena, but I'm still fucking pally time, professional opinion, is Nature Swiftness in the Resto Shaman tree. Once you have Nature Swiftness out of the Resto Shaman tree, you can literally do whatever the fuck you want with the remaining talent points of your quote-unquote Resto Paladin, as long as you're willing to wear Pure Plus healing gear. With possibly a little bit of nature resistance for the reasons that we talked about, okay? If you're willing to do that on your Resto Shaman, have Nature Swiftness, and wear a bunch of plus healing gear with a little bit of nature resistance going on, it is completely viable for you to go put every last talent point that you have deeper into the trees. I probably should make a video specifically on Cactus Paladin. I'll do that tomorrow, because right now my voice is starting to go. This gives you enough talent points to reach deep enough into the elemental tree to not only pick up all the goodies in the elemental tree, we're especially talking Eye for an Eye, which gives you 100% pushback immunity for offensive spell. I think it's for all spell casting. When you get crit, which is not nothing, that is 100% not nothing. But more importantly, it lets you get deep enough into the elemental tree to pick up the reduced like 0.5 second casting time on your chain lightnings and your lightning bolts, which is the far more critical talent to your elemental shaman. It's basically Eye for an Eye, and the reduced casting time on your lightning spells are the critical spells to get for quote unquote elemental shaman. And then after that, you're free to do whatever the fuck you want with your talent points. You don't need elemental overload to be an elemental shaman. You don't need the everything now crits to be an elemental shaman. You don't even need that shit in TBC in Classic WoW. You don't need that shit in Wrath. It's literally just are my spells being reduced in cast time? Yes or no. And then do I have Eye for an Eye? Yes or no. If you have both of those, you're an elemental shaman. Period. End of story. So the Cactus Paladin might benefit more from an elemental shaman who's gone specifically deep enough into the elemental tree to get Eye for an Eye and reduced casting time on their lightning spells. And then they can also very easily reach deep enough into the resto tree to pick up nature swiftness and a little bit extra. Then if we're talking about a pure resto shaman paired with Cactus Paladin. Your Cactus Paladin is going to be deep enough into the ret tree, probably specifically... God, there's multiple variations of Cactus Paladin now that I'm thinking about it. So all you need out of your ret tree specifically, you probably want Eye for an Eye. That'll help you with the Cactus part of your Cactus Paladin. But in theory, all you really need is Seal of Command and 3 points in Pursuit of Justice. After that, you can do whatever the fuck you want with your talent points. That's what Argent Defender does. Argent Defender / Heal Reckoning goes just deep enough into the restoration, into the ret tree to pick up Eye for an Eye and everything else it needs out of there. Then it puts 8 points into the Holy Tree so that it has 100% spell pushback. Immunity with concentration aura, and then it's deep enough into the prot tree that it has 5 out of 5 Argent Defender, 1 point in Holy Shield for what it's worth, and 5 out of 5 Reckoning. Some Cactus Paladins are going to want to go deep enough into the ret tree to get 3 out of 3 improved sanctified judgments. That's basically worth like 240 some or so odd MP5. It makes you such a mana efficient god to have 3 out of 3. Because you don't have Crusader Strike, you're basically going to be filling it with judging on cooldown. And reducing the mana cost of your seals and judging on cooldown and shit like that is just worth its weight in fucking gold. It's what makes you an endurance fighting monstrosity, is to be deep enough into the ret tree to have the 3 out of 3 improved Sanctified Judgment. Sanctified Judgments, yeah. Even a Holy Shock Paladin and Dueling goes deep enough into the ret tree to get 3 out of 3 Sanctified Judgments. They basically stay the fuck out of the prot tree and they go into the ret tree instead because of how mana efficient it is to get your Sanctified Judgments. But you don't have to, which means that you can only put a few points into the ret tree, like just deep enough to go pick up fucking, what is it? Eye for an Eye or Crusader Strike. and then go deeper into the Holy Tree if you really want to. The big boy talents in the Holy Tree is the plus 12% healing. That's worth like plus 600 healing or something stupid like that in TBC. Maybe even more. It is worth so much plus healing on your Paladin. It's literally insane. You could, for arena purposes, you can avoid Illumination 5 out of 5. You can avoid the free crit heal and put your talent points elsewhere if you really want to. But specifically, it's getting deep enough into the Holy Tree that not only do you get 100% spell pushback immunity with your 3 out of 3 concentration aura that you're now picking up because you went deep enough to get Reckoning. I'm going full Paladin mode on you guys here right now. Deep enough to get Reckoning. Right, that the 8 points in the Holy Tree gives us 100% spell pushback immunity, but it's like just an additional 5 points from there. We can pick up increased chance to resist fears and blinds and shit like that, on top of the fact that we can get the 3 points into the plus 12% healing. So that's like probably the deepest I would want to go into the Holy Tree for any real value. And past that, you'd want to put the remaining points either in the Ret Tree or additionally in the Prot Tree. There's a bit of an opportunity cost at the talent point tier where it's Stoicism 2 out of 2, Hodge Stun, Improved Hodge Stun 3 out of 3, and then Concentration Aura 3 out of 3. That's where I would put my additional talent points first before I would go any deeper into the Holy Tree or into the Ret Tree. I think having 3 out of 3 improved concentration aura on top of having the 35-second Hodge Stun, like literally getting everything in that row of talents, and Stoicism on top of that will move the needle for your Cactus Paladin way more than anything else that you can possibly do. I can tell you right now that mathematically speaking, if you do not have the improved, if you don't have the 12 talent, if you don't have the plus 12% healing from the Holy Tree, your Cactus Paladin is likely going to have like 1/3 of its gear as plus healing gear. Now, whether you're getting that from the plus healing from your enchants or you're getting the plus healing gear by like literally wearing like some off pieces of ornamented gear, or you're achieving that with like a 4-piece Lamellar set, like however the fuck you're getting your like 1/3 of my gear is now plus healing gear, additional plus healing on your Paladin. You have to hit a plus healing breakpoint as a Cactus Paladin, I imagine, to where your off heals are legitimate concern for your enemy, so that they can no longer ignore your cactusy nature. They have to try to attack you to kill you because you're too effective of an off healer. And you're not going to achieve that by wearing full DPS fucking Ret gear. God damn it, I gotta make a video about this all on its own, don't I? You're not going to achieve that with full DPS fucking Ret gear, and then being like, oh, I'll just swap to a plus healing one-hander and a shield for off healing purposes. That's not going to be enough. That might be enough with the plus 12% healing in the Holy Tree, but without that, like 1/3 of your gear is going to have to go to plus healing gear. And that is the power and the value of putting those extra points, not having them in the Ret Tree, but instead having them in the Holy Tree. Okay? Yes, you're going to be sacrificing some shit out of the Ret Tree. The big boy talents that are being sacrificed out of the Ret Tree are two-handed weapon specialization and vengeance. Vengeance? Yeah. Sacrificing 5 out of 5 vengeance is a massive loss. Not having repent is a massive loss. But at the same time, you're picking up improved Hodge Stun, Stoicism, fucking like 35-second Hodge Stuns, Stoicism, 3 out of 3 concentration aura, which you probably already had anyways, is a big fucking deal for your elemental shaman. And you're able to wear like really scary Ret gear which might move the needle more. It probably won't move. It might move the needle more for you than having Vengeance and Repent. I shit you not. Like, all this together will probably move the needle for you more. But more importantly, everything I'm just describing synergizes extremely well with your Resto Shaman not having to go and pick up Earth Shield in the Resto tree. Right? So it's like, we either have a Resto Shaman that's deep enough into the Resto tree that they have Earth Shield, and that's allowing us to, like, gear this more offensive Reckoning style of Paladin for TBC. Or option 2 is we didn't go super deep. We gave up all the deep stuff in the Ret tree, and instead we're this more like Holy Reckoning style. But because our heals are more powerful, and we're a bit more of a live lord, it's allowing the shaman to go without Earth Shield and instead pick up, basically be a fucking elemental shaman. That might move the needle more for your Cactus Paladin success, than the other way of doing it. I'll have to make a video specifically on the subject. Again, I have no arena experience with the comp whatsoever, but I am still motherfucking Pally time. So I'll probably be able to theory craft something out of this anyways. Anyways, this video is already long as hell. I'm literally starting to run out of blood sugar. I need to go eat something, god damn it. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later, Diaz. Well,